YouTube seems to be up. Twitch seems to be up. Let's see. Is Kick gonna function correctly today? Okay, Kick seems to be working, so let's pause that. Pause that, so I don't need that eating up data. Pause this. Okay. Hello, Kionella. Oh my, okay, there it goes. New song, by the way. Hello, Crimson Rain. New song to annoy y'all with before we get into the news, right?
A ready guide was pressed into my palm before my hand could choose a road. A name for doubt, a rule for leaving, a sentence waiting past the border. Do not ask too far, do not look too long, do not let the question learn its own name. I learned the posture before the reason, the answer before the test. Fear fed fear until repetition felt like conscience in my chest. Every door beyond the doctrine had a warning carved above. Leave the shelter, lose the family, leave the faith, betray their love. Old hellfire flashed behind my ribs long after words had lost their claim. I watched another birthday vanish while I practiced being tame. Time was never waiting with me, fear was spending it at will. Silence chosen out of terror is a choice to remain still.
Hello, Philip.
To decide is still deciding. If fear is thinking in my place, then fear is claim the final say. One mind, one mortal span, no second life to give away. I choose the life no master owns. I choose the mind that may revise. No threat can make a falsehood true. No fear can make a question lie. If a changed mind earns the grave, the threat condemns the chain. Not me, they said the world beyond was death. I crossed the line and learned to breathe. I crossed the line, and life began. I read the pages I was warned from, not an enemy's convenient line. Text by text and claim by claim, I gave the argument its time. I followed ruling into source and found the sentence underneath. Change your judgment, lose your standing, leave and speak, forfeit your breath. My mother wept as though I'd vanished. Someone said my name was dead. The old fear struck before the reason, then reason answered in its stead. If disagreement ends in killing, the blade cannot complete the case. Force can silence contradiction, it cannot reason in its place. At noon I raised a glass of water, sunlight warm across my hand. I drank, my shoulder slowly settled. No voice came down, no lightning answered. Water, window, breath, no strike. The fear did not evaporate, it simply lost the right to rule. I chose a book whose questions caught me. I followed where the pages led. Music crossed an open window. I heard it simply as a song. I broke bread with minds that differed, laughed, disagreed and stayed. I marked 10 years across a calendar, plans no warning could erase. Work was work, the rain was weather, morning needed no command. What they named the world forbidden was the world beneath my hands. I had spent years waiting to live, now the hours were mine to spend. Not alone and not obedient, self-directed among friends. Freedom does not make me flawless, reality will not bend for me. I can misread, I can revise. An honest mind must remain free. Error met with reason is human. Error guarded by a blade is something else. My years are brief, my sight is partial. Death will find me soon enough, so I will spend this finite life on what I judge and know and love. I can join without surrender, hear another and reply. Neither master, neither servant, neither mind required to lie. And if tomorrow proves me wrong, I will change again. That is what a living mind is for. I choose the life no master owns. I choose the mind that may revise. The morning asks no oath from me. The open road requires no line. A book, a song, the table shared, a future planned by my own hand. They said the world beyond was death. I crossed the line, and there it was. No borrowed hell will spend my years. No inherited voice will choose my path. I left, the morning came. I crossed the line, and life began. Call it exile, call it error, call it apostasy. I was breathing before I left, but this was the first breath that belonged to me.
All right, as I've said before on Twitter, my menace and on Discord, my menace arc has changed to a different topic, right? I wanted to stick more to philosophy, and I was like, maybe I should write a song about apostasy from Islam, right? It's like, yeah, so that's the thing. You got a little blurb here about ex-Muslims, why you should leave from an objectivist standpoint, why you should leave from a Thomistic standpoint, right? So, yeah. And as you can see by this fucking ocean of links at the top, right? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is gonna be a while, right? It's not all of this is gonna be captured today, but there's gonna be a lot to talk about over time, right? So I hope y'all enjoyed that song. So apparently, Hassan Piker has done another fuckery, right? Who would guess, right? Dog Shocker does something like, idiotic and, well, not idiotic, but evil, right? So Tectone reports, Hassan Piker just coordinated a website to mark all his worst statements unsafe, thus preventing anyone on Twitter/X to be able to critique his character anymore. Leave it to a communist terrorist supporter to suppress free speech. This is disgusting anti-American behavior. Not surprised it's coming from Hassan Piker, the dog striker. I mean, he's not wrong there, right? He's not wrong there. This is exactly the kind of thing we would expect from Hassan, Piker. Now, personally, I think that his citizenship might need to be evaluated, but my standard for citizenship, what I think is logically implied by the 14th Amendment, not this fucking magic soil bullshit, but like have the wording of the actual 14th Amendment about political jurisdiction, would presumably call his citizenship into question, right? So from my perspective, if I'm right about that, my opinion is that Hassan should be, denaturalized and then deported back to whatever godforsaken country he came from. But that's just me, right? 30 windows. Yes, 30 windows. And I had to close out 30 tabs. I had to close out like 50 before the stream in hopes to not crash the stream, right? Oh my goodness. I close the tabs, you fucking psychopath, right? Oh my god. But yeah. So the dog striker, bro, that's diabolical. I mean, to be fair. Yes, the dog striker, right? But let's go to Kraut, because he's quoting Kraut. I have no idea who this man is. This is apparently he did have an interesting word in his repertoire. which is not popping up for some reason, probably because it's right here. Liberal European citizen. Transatlanticist. I don't know what the fuck that means. Give me one moment while I look this word up. And then he's got some fucking Cyrillic. It looks like it. No, that's actually Ukrainian. That's not Russian. You can tell it's Ukrainian by this character right here, the I with the 2 dots on it. Oh yeah, my language nerd bullshit comes in again, right? It's like, hold on, that's definitely Ukrainian, not Russian, right? Transatlanticism. What is this? Relationship between Britain and America, especially in literature, culture, tradition, based upon a shared history, a common language, shared principles of legal philosophy, commonality of religious belief, and kinship ties. So basically, arguing for like closer political and like economic and military alliances between the Commonwealth realm, which would be like the United Kingdom and all of the places that call the monarch of England, you know, their monarch. So it'd be like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, like 16 other countries, right? With the United States. And it was like, I don't know that I want that. I don't know what that I want that. Considering how these people are fucking acting, right? I think that, you know, maybe the United Kingdom should eat its own fucking consequences, right? I don't necessarily want closer ties to a country that, you know, lets the fucking gang rape, you know, horrors happen, you know, for the sake of political, you know, political face saving, right? But that's just me, right? I would prefer that the United Kingdom and Spain and these other countries stop being retarded, but I can't control that, right? I just don't want to be, you know, bound up in that kind of retardation. So, let's see. Kraut says, lol, Hassan Piker's fans managed to get a site that lists all his scandals and outrageous statements marked down as unsafe, so it can't be posted here anymore. So this is whoishassanpiker.com, which, interestingly, so it can't be posted here. So since this is a question, and I didn't really read this before starting, let's try it right now, because I can just look this up, right? And I can also do it on a separate screen, that way. Hold on. Let me check something first. Who is Hassan, Hassan Diddy Piker, .com. Let me check with something first to make sure that this isn't, because, let's see. Alternative way to circumvent. Just fucking, you know, this is actually pretty clever. Just put it as a fucking QR code, eh? Okay, let's see. Let's see what the let's see what happens if I type this into Grok. If it what it gives me. Ran one search. Okay, so we're taking just a little bit, right? Let's see. I wouldn't advise the U.S. joining the insanity. Exactly, right? Exactly. Like, I would, honestly, to be perfectly honest, closer ties with Poland, sure, I can get behind that, right? But Poland is actually behaving like a sane fucking culture, right? Technically safe to visit. No evidence of malware, phishing, technical threats based on available checks, but it is a one-sided critical opinion site about Twitch streamer and political commentator Hassan Abi Piker. Let's see. Treat his content and advocacy. Okay, well, yeah, no shit. You know, always take what you read online with a grain of salt, right? But we've also literally seen him say stupid shit. So this is the actual website. Since Twitch won't show it to you, I might as well do it, right? Not Twitch, but fucking, yeah, Twitter. God, I don't know what it is today. Something's off with me today. Right? All right, so who is Hassan Piker? Let's go. This isn't actually that long. I might as well just read this right now. It doesn't look like, yeah, this isn't a traditional wiki, so let's see what we got here. Warning, the content on this page represents the opinion and commentary of its authors regarding the public conduct of Hassan Piker, a public figure. All statements should be understood as protected opinion, criticism, and commentary rather than assertions of fact. Sources may be inaccurate or not tell the full picture. I mean, yeah, anytime we're all talking about this, we're basically talking as best we understand the situation to be, right? Like, I can't fucking understand. I can't read Hassan Piker's mind, right? I don't have access to the legal documents. That brothel he went to in Germany, I can't prove I can't prove that anything illicit happened with the underage, with the few underage, ladies that were found in that German brothel. I also can't disprove it, right? So it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, if you think that happened, I'm not gonna blame you for thinking that happened, but also you can't exactly prove it happened, right? And we got to admit that we can't actually prove that happened. Right? We do have to be honest, even if we dislike someone, right? But also being fair means treating someone who's a fucking dickhead like a dickhead, right? Let's see. This was last updated on 2026, August 09. So it'd be the 9th of August. At 1800 01 UTC. Okay. Let's see. Hasan Piker is a Twitch streamer and political commentator whose public statements, political advocacy, and conduct have generated extensive controversy and media scrutiny. He has faced criticism over commentary concerning Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and yeah, you mean like when he had a fucking Houthi pirate allegedly on his stream, and other militant terrorist organizations. His coverage of international conflicts and authoritarian governments, allegations of anti-Semitism, I don't know if I'd call them allegations, right? Inflammatory political rhetoric, and a 2025 animal abuse controversy involving his dog Kaya and Fish. Fish. Okay. Bold, right? Asking if any European country to not be mentally deficient, right? Oh my god. Poland comes to mind. Poland caught on to this bullshit really fucking quickly. But to be fair, Poland also has the displeasure of having once been run by communists. So they took one look at a lot of this stuff and they were like, nope. When the fucking illegals started to storm their border, one of these dumbasses threw a spear. And I don't remember if he killed, but I think they may have killed one of the border guards of the Poles, and they're like, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna open fire, right? And I'm like, I can't exactly blame them. You gotta be right. It's like Poland's like, we're not putting up with this. We're not getting overrun by communists. We're gonna physically remove you from our country if you try to come in, and we're gonna physically prevent you from getting in. And I'm like, okay. That seems perfectly reasonable to me, especially when one of these fuckers threw a spear at one of your soldiers, right? Who the fuck brings a spear to a potential gunfight? Anyway, so back to Hasan Diddy Piker, right? Let's see. Support terrorist organizations, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, militant organizations, interviews, broadcasts, and related controversies. Yeah, remember when, during the fucking, remember that Hasan was one of the people that was, being shown in Iran as, propaganda. So it's Poland is too base to be European, that's why they're Poles. Something what the Haitian president said about the Poles, right? I can't repeat it because of Twitch TOS, even though it was a compliment. But basically, translate what the president of Haiti once said back when Haiti got its independence. Basically, called the king of Poland a real one. I'll let you look it up yourself, right? Let's see, politics and geopolitics. Ukraine, China, Cuba, Poland, and the Middle East, authoritarian governments, international conflicts, and foreign policy. Well, yeah, these are things he talks about without knowing anything about half this shit. Anti-Semitism, statements concerning Jewish people, responses to anti-Semitic incidents, public criticisms, and related media coverage. Yeah, I know a couple Jews, and none of them particularly like Hasan Piker. Even the ones who are skeptical of Israel are like, I'm not a big fan of Hasan Piker. So it's there's a reason for that, right? Political activity. Electoral politics, Democratic Party criticism, political advocacy, rallies, and public appearances. Yeah. Let's see, biography and career, family background, education, the Young Turks. Funny enough, if I had an organization, let's just say it's you know what? It's kind of a cool aesthetic, right? I'm just going to bring back a name to call my news agency, to give news to the youngins, right? And then I called myself the Hitler Youth. I think I would be fucking eviscerated, right? Publicly, right? I would be fucking absolutely dragged through the mud, probably doxxed, right? Probably my life threatened. But, you can name yourself after the Young Turks, the group that marched Armenians in a intentional genocide into the sea, to drown them in mass, right? after dispossessing them of their territory and making them going to go a long march where a lot of them died of starvation. Yeah, no, you can totally call yourself the Young Turks. The Young Turks isn't a hate group. It's not an intrinsically evil name, unlike the Hitler Youth, right? I hate these people. Anyway, early internet career and Piker's development as a political streamer. Yeah, animal abuse and other controversies. Animal abuse allegations, associates, and controversies outside his primary political commentary. And then we have articles covering Piker's controversies. So, because this is potentially banned on X, I might make a habit of going through on occasion and reading this on stream. Right? But, well, let's just start with the first one, right? Because, like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I have a sneaking suspicion a little bit of trolling might be in order, right? Because they might not be able to post the website, but could they post a VTuber reading the site? These are questions that must be asked for security purposes. Let's see, major controversies. Obviously, we have the support of terrorist organizations, which is listed twice here for some reason. There's a little bit of redundancy in this website. Let's see, we have documentation concerning Piker statements, broadcast interviews, and interactions involving Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and is this... Okay, so it's not exactly a rewrite here. Let's see what's in here. Oh, shit, we got fucking... Oh, okay. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use this site. Hold on. Hold on, we just found a better kiwi farms, right? Okay, so they actually have the citations here. They showed their work. God bless these people. Let's see, what's the anti-Semitism page look like? Oh, hold on. Yep, I remember a lot of these. Let's see, we got the animal abuse allegations. We got handling, attitude, collar use, collar evidence, fish. Fish is the name of a dog. Okay, interesting. And yeah, I mean, now Hassan claims to be Muslim, and maybe he is a Muslim pretending to be a communist, or maybe he's a communist pretending to be a Muslim. I don't know, but you know, Islam and dogs don't exactly go get along with each other, right? You know, and there's a reason for that. You know, when the dog keeps alerting the house to, you know, Muhammad's gay lover, you know, trying to get entrance into the house, it's a little annoying to the unlettered prophet. He just wants to be the top for once after he was made the bottom, you know, by 30, you know, by the men of Azut, right? The men of Al-Zut made him the bottom. He just wants to be the top for once. Is that so wrong? Well, I mean, according to his own logic, yes. But anyway, let's see. I'm being a bit of a shitter today. Okay, let's see. Documentation of statements concerning Jewish people and Israel that have promoted allegations of anti-Semitism, including repeated use of the term inbred and pig dog controversy. I wonder what religion has a bit of a... I wonder what religion has a custom of cousin marriage. Not even like distant cousin marriage, but like first cousin marriage. What religion was Hassan again? I don't know. Maybe. Seems like a bit of projection right there, personally, but... Let's see, related pages. We got response to anti-Semitic incidents, Piker's commentary following major incidents of anti-Semitic violence and unrest, reception and criticism, responses from politicians, advocacy organizations, journalists, and other public figures. Oh, I'm going to have fun with this over time. Hassan plus others fatigue, yes, right? Hello, Buhakli. See, animal abuse. Well, the only reason we're looking at this right now is because apparently you can no longer post this archive of bad behavior of Hassan Piker on Twitch anymore. So, you know, might as well make a YouTube version of some of these pages. That way it's like, hey, you can't post the website, but maybe you can get around it by posting, you know, the VTubers who read it, right? I'm just doing my part, right? Let's see. Documentation concerning the treatment of Hassan Piker's dogs, kaya, and fish, including tail pulling and shot. I don't understand tail pulling. Tail pulling is just not something you should be doing. DNA-wise, we are all second cousins. I don't know about that. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Right? Oh my god. We got politics and geopolitics, and it looks like they have on each specific issue. Oh, they do. Oh, this is going to be good for research. Oh, I'm going to have fun looking through this. Holy crap. Let's see. Pre-invasion commentary, Crimea and the 2014 annexation, predictions concerning Russia's invasion, NATO, and post-invasion commentary. We have China, 2025 China trip, Tiananmen Square controversy, CGTN interview. By the way, we will be talking about China immediately after this, as I promised you last time. And commentary concerning the Chinese government. And yeah, this is a massive cover-up by the Chinese government that we are going to talk about. Let's see, Cuba, the March 2026 Nuestra America convoy trip and subsequent reporting concerning U.S. Treasury / OFAC scrutiny, not security. Geopolitical takes, we have commentary concerning Poland, Middle East, foreign governments, international conflicts, and related subjects. Anti-Democratic Party messaging, Democratic Party criticism, electoral commentary, political advocacy, and 2026 Abdul El Said. Is it El Said or Al Said? But I need to check this up. Rally controversy. Where is this guy from? I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Al Said. Let me check something. Give me one moment. No, okay. It is actually written El Said. Hold on, where is this guy from? Progressive Democrat, okay. Supports regulated capitalism. Fuck off. That just means you're a goddamn corporatist. Let's see. I'm gonna check something. This guy, let's see what categories he's listed in then. American epidemiologists. Egyptian. Okay, he's Egyptian. I'm pretty sure it's supposed... Interesting. Do they pronounce... Okay, they might have a different... Because I know, like, Arabic isn't really one language. Like, modern standard Arabic is one language. But, like, I know that... fair enough. Why is it giving me a translate this on your comment? What the fuck? Where was I? Yeah, so maybe it just has to do with the thing with, like, how Egyptian Arabic deals with, like, other, like, modern standard Arabic. Because, like, the Arabic isn't one language. It's like Levantine Arabic, Egyptian Arabic, and Moroccan Arabic have different degrees of mutual intelligibility, right? Some of them are not mutually intelligible. That's why modern standard Arabic was a thing. Let's see. You will eat the boogs yuckly instead of hog porkly. I think I'll stick with the pork, right? Unless the bugs are shrimp and lobster, I'll eat the shit out of that. Crayfish is delicious. Let's see. Anti-Semitism and related criticism. Yeah, a lot of this on the front page at least seems like it's going to be repetitive. So we have documents, statements concerning Jewish people. Yeah, okay, hold on. Let's look into here. Okay, I was already here. I don't know why we're rehashing some of this. Response to anti-Semitic incidents. Okay, this is legitimately a different page. Yeah, I could probably go through this whole website, like, just periodically, piece by piece. Holy crap, there's a lot of research in here. Look at all this. Look at all this documentation. Get fucked. No wonder he wanted this to go away. Right? Look at all the fucking archives of my bad behavior. Fucking reception and criticism. Let's see what this is. Anti-Defamation League CEO has repeatedly criticized what he criticizes. Well, the Anti-Defamation League is a fucking joke of an organization. Let's be perfectly honest. Let's see. Biography and career, early life and career, family background. So we're going to talk about this. There's the Piker family. There's a section for associates. We have a source library. Ooh. And we have an editorial citation policy. So material presented throughout this documentation should be traceable to publicly available sources. So basically, you actually have to be able to show to the public what it is based on, like, it being publicly available. So primary sources are preferred, and right here, it's already better than Wikipedia, because Wikipedia actually does not prefer primary sources if you look at their own editorial and citation policy. Funny how that fucking works, right? Anyway, Where available, include full live streams, original video, official documents, and direct public statements. News reports should identify the publication and author whenever possible. That's a good policy. Allegations and disputed claims should be attributed to the individual, organization, publications, and other sources making the claim. Video clips should retain enough surrounding context to accurately represent the statement being documented. Okay, again, if you're being fair with someone who's acting badly, guess what? They're going to fairly look like they're the bad guy. And archived copies of mirrors may be used when original material has been deleted or otherwise unavailable, which is definitely a thing that they would have to put in there. But yeah, so right there, it's whoishassanpiker.com. Anyone who wants to look through the history of Hassan Piker being a fucking scumbag, there it is. He was born in New Jersey. Oh yeah, he was an anchor baby. I forgot about that. So if you think that if you're curious as to what people dislike about Hassan Piker, you could use this resource. It'll give you the strong argument against Hassan Piker. Now, if you already dislike Hassan Piker and you want, like me, to see him denaturalized and deported, familiarize yourself with the scummy behavior of the anchor baby and why anchor babyism should not be allowed, right? So that'll be it for at least this episode. I'll probably go through some of these in more depth in the future. I just literally found out about this like 5 minutes before stream, and I was like, I have to talk about this a little bit, right? So let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Okay, so now let's close this out. Okay, so I promised that the next one would be China, then we can get to the fox suit. Okay. So, when I was talking about Anthony Fauci yesterday and how a lot more people died in China than China wants you to know, and that we can actually calculate how many people died in China based off of certain metrics of importation. I found one of the videos that actually talked about it, so we're going to react to that today. They're so afraid of your streams that they will pass the Don't Day Fair bill. Were you expecting me to misread that? Let's see. So here we have What is China's Real Population by David on China and China Insider with David Zhang. Hopefully, I'm not going to get struck for this, right? Because this is important information. But as a wise man from China once told, well, not from China, from Taiwan once told me, there is only one true China. The mainland is occupied West Taiwan, right? Oh man, don't say fair. Yeah, I got it. It's like, oh my god. So here we go. Let's look at the horrors of Deng Xiaoping theory. Evolved into Xi Jinping thought.
This video is me thinking out loud, so come enjoy the ride with me. China's population may be under 1 billion people. This is one of the busiest streets in Shanghai, Middle Huanhai Road. And on some days, it looks like a normal bustling commercial district. But on many other days, a quiet place, peopleless during normal business hours. And obviously this wasn't the case, say in 2018. A detailed thread on Zhihu, which is China's Quora.
I want you to look at this picture. Hold on, I'm actually going to turn off the chat for just a bit. That picture right there, compared to what you just saw. This is not a one-off thing. There have been people noticing that certain large cities or medium and large cities in China don't feel as if there's the same number of people anymore. There might be a good reason for that. Okay.
Shows that in the past, before the pandemic, the street shops were lined with people 365 days. Now, sometimes you're...
Okay, I'm going to go back and actually read this thing because I actually forgot to read the title. So it's 10 unbelievable things about Shanghai, why there are queues on Huaihai Road 365 days a year. So again, 365 days a year, there's queues for this one along this one road, and now it's not. What has changed?
See what's ahead. You already know that someone's lining up for something. And this is far from the only place in Shanghai seeing a drop in people. Metros, for example. Now, certain lines used to be packed, of course, have actual downtimes and empty train cards. In 2025, a Chinese vlogger visited
1 billion people. This is a city of millions, allegedly.
the Bund, and he says that
Constant coughing and sinuses equal long-term dehydration. Yes, how could you tell, right? Also, I have allergies. It is also the allergies.
it is packed with people. This is during the Chinese New Year, but not as many as before.
然后人的话有，但没有想象到的那么多。但我估计啊，个人估计晚上
I should have probably been reading this. So as for people, not as many as I imagined.
但没有想象到的那么多。但我
I personally guess more people will come at
估
night.
计啊，个人估计晚上人应该不少。
The malls are decorated, lanterns are up. Spring
What the fuck is that? Hold on, I have to fucking bitch out about this.
晚上人应该不少。
the mall
Why is the tree obscuring the fucking sign? Hold on, let me turn off the chat again. Oh, that was the wrong one. But right there, look at that. That fucking sign is. Oh my god. Sorry, it's just me being a bit of a spurg there.
malls are decorated, lanterns are up. Spring festival vibes are ready to go. And the people just aren't there, or at least there's no more enthusiasm. The food shops that used to have lines out the door, there's less people now. You walk straight in, there's no queue, no pushing, no waiting. The question is, where did everyone go? Sure, if you're still taking, say, the 11th metro line in Shanghai, the busy office workers, they're still packing the train, of course, during rush hours. Or if you visit the Huanhai Road on a Saturday evening or maybe afternoon, and you might still get the foreign tourist or the local crowd. During festival seasons, of course, there are still people around everywhere, because it's China.
Yeah, I mean, you lose a lot of people in China, and there's still a lot of people in China. Let's be fair, right?
And even in metro stations, it still looks like there's plenty of people. But something feels like something feels like it's not the same as before. Something feels off. Sure, there's still people, lots of them in China, everywhere, but just not as many as before. Okay, now maybe everyone just went back to their homes for the holiday. Maybe during the Chinese New Year season, that hometown is the destination to celebrate. That seems all right, normal, right? Migrant workers going back to the countryside, smaller towns filling up, and bigger cities get quieter.
Ah, see, you're a bit of a psychic, Philip, because because this is exactly one of the things that they talk about in the video, right? There's estimates, true vaccination statistics, and imports of salt that China's population could be a third to half of what's in the books. Yeah. Again, it's like, I have no doubt that, at least right now, that China had 1 billion people. But, you know, communist mismanagement oftentimes results in the death of a lot of people, right? Think about how many people died in great famines under fucking communist regimes, right? Think about how many people died in the Holodomor. Think about, like, all these other socialist attempts, right, to control the means of production and how they just result in millions dead. Like, again, the fucking arduous march in North Korea or the Great Leap Forward in China, right? Both China and India have lots and lots of people. That's true. I mean, and India itself isn't a stranger to, you know, famines. They've tried that whole thing, but yeah.
But here's the problem. By this time of the year in China, from those videos during the Chinese New Year, by that time, they should all be back. The factories will be running, offices will be open, schools are in session. And yet on the ground, you see people keep filming clips that basically look like it's not the right time. You have thinner crowds, quieter streets, half-empty metros.
I have it. They're all neats. They've all stopped working to watch anime. No, honestly, the answer is probably a lot more tragic, to be perfectly honest. You gotta put a little bit of levity, because we all know where this is going.
And here's another part where you feel it, the rental market. A shop owner in Shanghai says back in the days, his location was insanely competitive. One little unit, 10 people will be fighting for it. But by early 2025, not only are many shop fronts sitting empty, even with rent cut in half, nobody seems to want them. Here,
I haven't seen the floods lately in at least in India or China, right? My attention has been a little bit preoccupied outside of these two regions recently, but I'll look into the floods because I'm actually not familiar with them.
in this video, a restaurant owner in Shanghai had to close one of her food places after nearly 10 years. Why? Well, one of the factors is that in certain months, 70% of the office buildings will be empty. Now, this isn't just Shanghai. Landlords in Beijing, Guangzhou, Wuhan, Hangzhou, Shenzhen, and Nanning, these are all major cities in China. They're all telling similar stories.
Well, there's my copyright
呢度
strike.
一間，
There's one here and two there, all closed.
前邊仲有2間，又係空置咗嘅。依一
This row has no shops open.
欄全部都冇鋪頭嘅，
Up there is empty to a.
前面都係好冷清啊！想當年疫情之前，
Before the pandemic, this place was rather busy. So again, we have the causal observation here, right? Pre-pandemic, this place is fucking bustling. Post-pandemic, where are all the people? Where are all the people? Now, granted, we know where some of these people went, right? Hello, Kenok. How have you been? We know where some of these people have been. There are actually videos of people being welded into their apartments so they can't get out under lockdown, right? So we do know at least a certain percentage of the population. I don't know what that percentage is, but there are people who just straight up like died because they were locked and literally welded into their apartments. Nobody wants to pay more than 25% of their earnings for a glorified, safe, and secure private sleeping box. I mean, that is true. Let's see.
世貿天街都幾旺下嘅。
And again, this is... Look, I don't like communist countries, but, like, I also don't want to... I don't want people to die, either, let's be fair, right? So, I was like... It's fucking ridiculous about this whole thing, especially considering the origins of COVID, if COVID is the thing that actually killed a lot of these people, right? Because one of the things is like a disease that isn't necessarily lethal in a normal circumstance, if too many people flood the hospital, can suddenly become actually deadly because now you don't have the ability to get the actual help you need. So a treatable disease becomes a mass killer just by like sheer volume, especially if it takes doctors out to be able to, help you. So yeah, this is one of those things where I was like, hey, this could actually just very well be a lot of these people died from COVID or from lockdown policies. Probably a combination of both, to be perfectly honest. But it's just totally fucking unnecessary that any of this had to have happened, because we know basically at this point that the COVID that the COVID virus came from the a Wuhan laboratory testing this stuff against fucking regulations, and let's not forget that there were side effects to the vaccine that probably have a percentage of these people killed as well. So it's just ridiculously fucking unnecessary. And it's infuriating, again, that communists will do this shit and then they will just get, and then like the people will give them a fucking pass when it's like, no, this is absolutely monstrous. Hello, Play Astronomical. It is sad to see, right? It's like that's all I gotta say for that. It's fucking ridiculous. Finally, a day off getting laundry done. Based, Kenok, right? Let's see. We are calling them people now. JK, pray for mainland Taiwan. Exactly. Hello, Robert Kinley. I did just make I did make that second joke earlier. There's one true China. Like the mainland is occupied West Taiwan.
咁落去成個商場都可以執。
This whole place might shut down. It's like, yeah, if there's no people, if you don't have people to take up the space, then that's just costing you money. And then if the places here just aren't making enough money because there's not enough people to actually, sustain the economy here, then yeah, you just might have to shut it down. It's literally not worth the upkeep.
Looking at smaller towns, streets are empty, businesses are closed. Back in the 1990s, when China officially had only 1 billion people, everywhere was packed. And you were afraid to go outside because anytime you go, you were dealing with bumping into people. Now, we're told that right now there's 1.4 billion people.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
So why does it feel emptier? Where did the 400 million people go? Officially, the 2023 population statistics say that China's total population is about 1.41 billion people. Now, people in mid-sized or larger cities count for about 560 million. People in smaller towns and rural areas count for about 850 million.
See, I don't really have a problem with like mass, like with like huge populations like that. Personally speaking, I would like there to be 1 billion legitimate Americans, right? Not in the sense of like, let's import the whole world. It's like, nah. I want legitimate Americans, not these fucking magic soil people, right? But but legitimate Americans who have like a genealogical root in the United States through the foundational colonial and like Aboriginal populations. And like anyone who actually legitimately naturalized into America and actually became American culturally, right? You know, think like, for example, Leaflet's family, right? I would like there to be in total a 1.4 billion of us, right? I'd like there to be 1.4 billion of us. Greatest country in the world, right? 1.4 billion Americans. We'll get to the fucking Mars. We'll get to Europa, right? we will venture past Pluto. But it's like, yeah, just...
Now, I just want to take a moment to break down this misconception.
I have to say this because like this is consistent idea that like the more people you'll have, that it's going to somehow destroy the world. It's like, no, Malthus is absolutely wrong, and we proved him wrong multiple times over. And every time population numbers like this come up, I'm like, I just kind of got to make fun of Malthus because he's a fucking idiot.
That you might have when it comes to personal perspectives on their surroundings. It sounds hard to believe that if you lived in a large city and you say that, or we claim that you've lost, say, 1 million people, as let's say a city like Shanghai, 25 million people, losing 1 million people or 1 million people going somewhere else sounds like a lot on paper, but it's actually not going to look like much when it comes to such a great scale of people. Here's a great example using the...
Yeah, because it turns out when you're talking populations like this, you need to use relative numbers, not absolute numbers, right? Again, China loses 1 million people, that's nothing. Tuvalu, on the other hand, loses 1 million people. It's a fucking... Actually, how many people live in Tuvalu? Hold on. I gotta check this out, actually. Because, are there even 1 million people in Tuvalu? Right? Or the fucking Maldives, right? But it's like... You get my point, though. It's like... What is absolutely devastating to one country may just be literally a drop in the bucket for another one. Tuvalu population, 2026. Oh yeah, you know what? Okay. So apparently, somewhere between estimated at yeah. Never mind, that would have been an extinction event, fucking in Tuvalu. Well, hold on, I gotta pull this up. Tuvalu population live. The current population of Tuvalu is 9,390. Literally 1 million people die in Tuvalu. Tuvalu has literally been genocided multiple times over, right? So my point about, you know, you need a relative scale, not an absolute scale, is kind of like just demonstrated by accident on that, you know, example. There's probably a ton of vagrants in the undergrounds, probably. But they still need some of the things that they're going to talk about on here. I had an argument with someone who said that there's no set of political beliefs, hobbies, and cultural tastes that define an American. They are objectively wrong, right? Objectively wrong. There's probably a bunch of city dwellers that left for the countryside because of the lack of jobs in cities. Not necessarily, because what people don't really understand is China has a free market zone, and then it has, or allegedly free market zone. It's more of a fascist economic zone. And then an actual, like, again, straight up command economy zone. So the market is only allowed to operate in certain areas of China. If you leave those areas of China, you're not going to have the same economic opportunities. So I'm not entirely sure that I believe that particular assessment just because of how China actually works. But let's see. Hello, Phantom Crustacean. I'm so tired of people taking this opportunity to talk about malls through the eco-warrior lens, pollution, deforestation, and inferior simulation of the outdoors. It's a mall, for fuck's sake. Calm down. It's not that deep. I'm not entirely sure where you got this from, but I agree with you, right? It is a mall. It's not that deep. Free market zone, exactly. Let's say.
Sort of outside of China example. The perception of population, that is. New York City has around 8 to 9 million people. Since 2020, around 500,000 people have left, moved to other states, excluding those that passed away, of course. New York City before the pandemic often required you to line up for a restaurant for like 2 hours, or maybe it takes a huge amount of time to go from one place to another. Now, many places don't even have lines. And traffic is much worse going across the Holland Tunnel back in the days into Manhattan. Now, we barely get congestions. I'm not saying that there's no congestions at all. I'm only saying that during rush hours, you do get those things, but many times more, it's pretty okay. You don't feel like you're losing 500,000 people in the city. So is that also the case with China? Well, as it turns out, no. Let's first break down the idea that people moved out of the cities. So if the cities in China feel empty, relatively to before, are people all going back to the villages? Well, no. It seems logical on paper until people started going out to film those villages in the countryside. One person goes to a place in Zhejiang called Siming Mountain Village. He introduced it on camera like this.
这里呢，现在也被称之为无人村，因
This is being called a ghost village
为这里
because there's no one here.
荒无一人。
And there's many of these on Chinese social media.
Yeah, this is one of the ways that they kind of launder money in China. Is like they'll build these they'll build small and large cities, including complete with like tofu skyscrapers, and it is actually just called tofu construction because of like how piss poor it's actually made. Some of these buildings wobble a lot, right? But where was I going? Oh yeah, so it is one of the ways that they launder money. So it's like. There are a lot of ghost towns in China that no one has ever lived in, just because, again, it's a good way to launder money. It's just something I've seen pop up recently when I hear people talk about malls and abandoned malls. I mean, okay, fair enough. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, someone's talking about this, I got to get it out of my get it off my chest. Understandable. I've had moments like that too with chat, right? I think I've done that in like both Kirsha and Leaflet's chat at one point. I've done that in Ando's and Oid's chat, definitely. Right? Let's see. Firestorm Cabot. Hello. Hopped over here to continue my streak in case YouTube spazzes out. Thank you. Twitch can often spazzes out, so good luck, Cabot. Yeah. Let's see. Tofu dregs construction. Exactly.
And on camera, you see there's paved streets, there's neat rows of houses. Some of them look pretty new. There's a public square. There's a standalone village.
It's about as empty as a North Korean town, let's be fair.
But not many of these villages seems to be inhabited. But this place actually has a unique story because if you go on the Chinese Wikipedia, Baidu, this was once a proper, prosperous place. And this place was even named a model village in the province of Zhejiang. In 2006, the village had 413 households, about 1,100 people. And it was...
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go read this. So it's obviously Siming Mountain Village. Villages under the jurisdiction of Jixigang Town, Yinzhou District, Ningbo City. China's not a real place, right? What are these names? Zhejiang Province. Look, there's a lot about the Chinese language I do like, but it's like sometimes these names, it's like, if I had just made these up as like a series of random characters, I'd be called a racist, right? So, Siming Shan Village is located in the western semi-mountainous area of Jixigang Town, Yinzhou District, Ningbo City, Zhejiang Province, with a forest area of 5,300 mu. I have no idea what a mu is. I'm going to have to look that up. In 2006, the village's total economic income reached 92.91 million yuan, with a collective disposable income of over 850,000 yuan and per capita net income of 8,650 yuan for farmers. In recent years, the village's party branch has thoroughly implemented the important thought of three what the fuck? Represents? Okay, three represents. fully leveraging its role as a fighting fortress, adhering to keeping pace with the times, and pioneering innovation, achieving coordinated development of material, spiritual, and political civilization. Spiritual from a communist is really fucking interesting, right? Because, you know, Baidu is owned, like all other corporations in China, you know, by the CCP. It has successfully won a series of honorary titles, including Provincial and Municipal Model Village for Comprehensive Well-Off Society Construction, Municipal Civilized Village, Municipal Advanced Party Organization, and Municipal Model Village for Democracy, and the Something Law. The Village's party branch has been rated as an advanced party organization at the district level 3 times consecutively. So,
in 2006, the village had 413 households, about 1,100 people. And it was once called a model prosperity village. And this is supposed to be the demonstration of all villages to have this moderate prosperity. So how do you go from a model village to a no people village? Well, there's even an article claiming that this was once some sort of a high-end strategic relocation of the entire village into the town, but it never explained where those people actually went. So where did they go? Mars, parallel universe, multiverse, or simply disappeared? Now, if people are disappearing from cities and villages,
we really like holding out the back rooms as a possibility, right? Oh, hold on. Philip has the answer. A mu is 666.67. Is that meters or miles? Wait, that looks like meters. Meters squared. Okay. Yeah, it's meters squared. All right, let's see. Chinese names are long and mostly a description of a place. Well, I mean, to be fair, we did get like province, you know, subdivision, city. Let's see. Malls go bust because they are too far away. Or, you know, everyone died. This is another reason sometimes they go bust. Let's see. Yi. Plus a cosmic response faster here. Yeah, that's totally a thing with ProChat. I don't know what it is about ProChat that does that. Often what's supposed to be concrete is styrofoam. Yeah. Or it might as well be styrofoam, right? They got to say the funny magic words to get people to clap. A moo is what the cow says. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there, Boo Huckley. Funny enough, a lot of animals across the world are actually named after the sound they make. Look up what the Chinese word for cat is, for example.
where are they going? At the same time, there is one place that seems to get busier: crematoriums. A funeral home worker in a county-level city in
It's like, my business has gone down. The fucking crematorium worker is like, I couldn't be doing better. Just counting stacks of money. Oh, it's so dark, but holy fuck.
Guangdong posted a video in 2024. His county had a population of only 300,000, but he says that the funeral home is packed every day. You need to take a number and get in line to handle your loved one's cremation. Now, outside of China, media reports show similar things. For example, in March 2025, The Guardian questioned satellite imagery showing long lines of vehicles lined up outside of crematoriums and funeral homes after China ended its zero-COVID policy back in late 2022.
I wonder how this is going to affect the conversation about Holocaust denialism, right? Hold on. Let me go back. China withholds key indicator of COVID death toll as it fails to release cremation data. China has been accused of masking the true impact of the pandemic and underreporting the number of fatalities. Almost certainly has been. Emergency health workers transport a patient to a fever clinic at a hospital amid the COVID-19 pandemic in Beijing. Cremation data from the end of 2022 has been withheld, photographed by Jade Gao, AFP Getty Images.
And furnaces were running around the clock and still couldn't handle the number
What
of
does the
bodies.
box say?
But here's the key question. How many bodies are we actually talking about? In the official 2022 to 2023 statistics from the Chinese Ministry of Civil Affairs, one thing is conveniently missing: the number of cremations.
Okay, pause for a moment. By global intelligence, China has not released the number of bodies cremated in the fourth quarter of 2022, leaving COVID-19 deaths in the dark. This was published in 2003, June 13th. At 2131 actually. Updated on the June 13th at 22. That was fast. They updated it within the hour. Holy crap. Okay, let's see. CNA Taipei, April 13, China's Ministry of Civil Affairs only released its civil affairs statistics for the fourth quarter of 2022 on April 9th, but did not release the cumulative number of cremated bodies for 2022, as is customary. This means the exact number of people who died from COVID-19 during the major outbreak in China in the fourth quarter of last year remains unknown. Gee, I wonder why they would make this decision, right?
That line just simply vanished year over year. What's actually the reason behind that? Well, some say it's just an economic downturn. People don't go shopping. Perhaps they don't go outside, so the streets look empty. Crematoriums, maybe it's because of the aging population, which is another big issue. It also doesn't answer the question because the life expectancy of Chinese people have gone up. Now, others say that maybe things like e-commerce, everyone's buying online, so brick and mortar shops die or shopping streets look empty. But again, these are all true to some extent, but it doesn't answer the full picture. Now remember, China's rural and smaller town populations are officially around 850 million. So if anything, the outside of cities areas should be more populated. At some point, you run into this uncomfortable conclusion, which is what I have come to, is that if there is a large-scale population change, something undocumented, the only actor with full data is the Chinese Communist Party. No private company, no independent institution, or even a full national movement can be done to change that. Only the Chinese government can get the data.
Oh, no way. A totalitarian government that cares more about optics than actual well-being of its people is lying about COVID deaths. Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. The country whose government effectively created COVID. Yeah. Yeah, you have a solid point there, Kinley.
And so, of course, from data collection to the final publication in China, everything is extremely opaque. Population is the foundation data. It determines economic potential, labor force, military manpower, and market size. It is literally the bedrock of national power. So, of course, you can understand why the CCP would manufacture numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 1 billion people, that's 1 billion people participating in economics. It's 1 billion people who you can potentially, not the full billion. That's hundreds of millions of people you could theoretically draft into a military conflict if, say, for example, war kicks off between India and China. And they've kind of been flirting with that for a little while, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point that did happen. It's a good tool by which you can threaten, because again, you can draft fucking basically an unlimited number of people to fight Taiwan if, you at some point you find that, hey, America's not going to really back Taiwan. So we found the 6-month period where the sea allows us to actually do the invasion. Let's go! Right? There's a lot of advantages to having a population of 1.4 billion people, especially for a totalitarian government. So if they lost a significant chunk of that, not in absolute terms, but in a relative term, that would be something that they would probably hide.
Or to lie about this kind of stuff. Now, other countries' experts are obsessed with the question, is China's population really 1.4 billion? Well, in my view, not after COVID-19. But David, no country can hide losing hundreds of millions of people.
Are you sure about that? Right? Are you sure about that?
Yes, they can. China can. Forced organ harvesting. It's happening in China. The CCP can cover that up.
Yep, Uyghurs and Falun Dafa practitioners and house Christians, right? And it's not exactly subtle either, right? There's a reason why I think it's still illegal for like an Israeli citizen to go over to get an organ from China, right? Just because it's like, holy fuck. Because apparently Israel found out about that really fucking quickly, right? There were a couple of other countries who found out about it really quickly when their doctors took a look at it. It's like, that math just don't math. Something is off here.
It's a nationwide hospital operation. Concentration camps in Xinjiang. China can cover that up.
Yep.
An actor died. Yu Menglong, and no one hears of.
In all fairness, and I hate to give the communists anything, but there are also reports that don't really get talked about terrorist activities in Xinjiang, which is why, again, the Uyghur population is subjected to this, but the Hui population, which is also Muslim, is not subjected to this. And I'm not entirely sure what to make about that, because it wouldn't surprise me given the history of Islam, if some dumbass, in the Ummah decided, oh, I'm going to go join the greatest and most eternal sex party in all history, cowabunga, blows himself up, right? Or does a fucking knife attack or something like that. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, right? At the same time, I am going off the words of communists who have the history of lying about the crimes that the people they're persecuting have committed, right? Just look at, for example, accusing the Ukrainians of being a bunch of Nazis, right? And then like, yeah, they're Nazis. Starve them to death, said Stalin, right? Just so it's like, I don't know who exactly to trust, because I don't exactly trust, the religion that preaches Takia and Kitman. You could lie or tell a half truth for like your own benefit. I don't exactly trust the political religion that teaches you can lie for your advantage either. So it's like, I'm not entirely sure where exactly to thread that needle, but regardless of where that stands, you shouldn't be fucking forced organ harvesting people, right? But I digress.
About how it actually happened. A series of Chinese lockdowns in Shanghai, Xi'an, Xinjiang region, Wuhan, a lot of these cities, and many more, for months on end, and really you don't hear about what happened there. Long before the pandemic, people were already doubting the actual numbers.
Give it back, comrade. It always belonged to the state. Some communist. Wait, message deleted. What happened? No, that's kind of funny. What's going on here? Was that auto-modded? Oh my god. Give comrade, it always belonged to the state. Some communist problem. Oh, okay, you were just okay. You were just okay. You were revising what it was. Okay, I thought I got modded from. I was like, no.
Or the Chinese population. For example, back in 2018, Russian media circulated claims that China's true population was only 800 million and not 1.4 billion.
Okay, so this is before COVID in the first place, right? So this is Russian media. China's data shows a population figure that is not 1.5 billion, but may only be half or even third. So there's new talk, January 10, 2018. So maybe the entire thing, and this wouldn't surprise me either, because again, as I pointed out, having a population of 1.4 billion for a totalitarian regime has a lot of benefits. There is a lot of negotiating power that comes with just that number alone, right? There's a lot of bodies you can throw. It's like, what's that thing Stalin said? It's not quality, quantity is a quality all of its own, right? If you're not adverse to it, you can just sometimes overwhelm a superior arms by just fucking Zulu and the Anglo-Zulu War, right? Just it doesn't matter that the Brits have basically a machine gun, machine guns, and the Zulu have basically spears and wooden shields. It's like, nah, you charge them until they run out of bullets, and then you spear their ass, and they won. Just again, quality is a quantity is a quality all its own, apparently, right? Beeritarian. Well, in the early years of the one-child policy, it was supposed to be 900 million. Again, I'm not an expert in Chinese population studies, so I'm not entirely sure where to go with this. But yeah, I'm actually curious if we know how many Chinese babies have been aborted over the year because of its one-child policy. Monstrous policy, by the way, right? Literally telling you that you have to murder your children if you accidentally have more than one child. But yeah, fucking I digress, right? Using accuracy by volume play, eh? Am I too loud? Let's see. Zombie Zerg Rush. Brainwashed zealots, yeah.
And one Russian website, Peekaboo, published a piece called China is Faking Its Population Data. It cited an expert named Viktor Mikhailov, who supposedly used grain production and import-export data to estimate China's population at around 800 million. And other Russian outlets...
The one-child policy makes it impossible for China to have 1.4 billion just on that part. So the one-child policy is not perfect. There are actually a number of people who exist illegally in China. So these are people who are extraneous children born after the first one that was allowed, and those children are just not allowed to be on any of the kind of social programs at all. Like they're not documented. They're not allowed to get any kind of like benefits from state services. They're literally just like basically an untouchable class. So when you count those people, the numbers probably do go up significantly. Because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people who just didn't kill their kid, to be perfectly honest. China become among the hidden IRL. Your volume is fine, but it's the saturation shooting / bombing strat. Don't have to be that accurate when you get when you eat all the things at the end. Oh yeah, okay. You were talking about the military strategy. Okay.
Supposedly added up officially published urban population figures and came out with only 280 million. So then what they did was using China's own 60% urbanization number, and the reasoning was if 60% is 280 million, then the total population was somewhere around, say under 500 million. And even if you're generous, it can't exceed 800 million. Now, these stories then bounced into Chinese language media, which is, where, because I can't access the Russian ones. But there was a problem. Most of these studies really never came.
I'm actually curious why he can't access the Russian ones. Is it like because the website is blocked? Like I'm just actually, this is a legitimate question. I actually don't know. I don't read a lot of Russian material, so it's like I genuinely don't know.
From a formal research lab or an expert, right? And the methods were never fully explained. We just simply got the headlines. And so they were more treated like rumors with numbers attached. And more recently, a YouTuber named Lay's Real Talk claimed that the actual population in China is somewhere around 500 million, as she used estimates and AI models based on the average total fertility from 1949 to 2020.
I would be a little bit, I would double check anything based off an AI model. But that being said, if the population is 500 million, right? And we did get told earlier that, let's see, Biratarian said the early years of the one-child policy was supposed to be 900 million. Yeah, wait a minute, actually. Nah, you know what? Actually, Philip's right. If you're abiding by the law and you have one child, right? It's not that you couldn't have 1.4 billion just on its own. But like every subsequent generation is going to be half that of the previous one, right? So let's say we start with generation 1 and it's 900 million, right? Hold on. Now, we already mentioned that like this is a pure mathematics thing. We're not actually like accounting for real world variations such as, not killing your kid and then having them live off the system or live outside the system. So let's say we have 900 million, right? Okay, so the next generation would be 450 million, if I remember correctly. So then that would mean it would be 225 million the next generation. Okay, I don't know why I put that extra zero there. Okay, it'll be 100 and let's see, 112.5 million the next generation. Hold on. Interesting. I'm actually kind of curious if we can actually get this to work. I'm gonna get something to. I'm gonna actually set this up as like a math problem in the background. So just give me one moment. I'm gonna double check this later. Okay. Go here. We have initial population of 900 million and subsequent generation is half the preceding. When do we hit 1.4 billion? This is an interesting math problem. Again, because, like, the people with a lot of money in China can, and people with government connections can get away with not being part of the system. So it's not perfect, but it's an interesting idea in the background. Hold on. The key typing, yeah. Let's see. We know the provincial administration are cooking their books to get more financing from the government, like kindergarten admissions and other statistics. Yes, less welfare seems like the only good part of the one-child law. I mean, they shouldn't have it at all. Let's see. Bureautarian says in September of 1980, when the one-child policy was implemented, and in 1980, the population was supposed to be 900 and I can't talk right now. 987.05 million, assuming they were lying. I mean, they probably were. Let's see. If each generation is half the size of the preceding generation, starting with 900 million, generation 1 would have 900 million. Okay, so my math about the generations is correct. So no individual generation ever... Well, I wasn't asking about individual generation. If you mean the cumulative population across generation... Okay, so this actually wouldn't be such a thing. Such an issue. So after generation 1, obviously that's 900 million, we start. Generation 2, since we're adding 450 million, we get 1.35 billion. And after generation 3, we would have 1.575 billion. So you cross 1.4 billion during generation 3, only 50. But to be fair, this is assuming that like everyone of the 900 million people actually has a kid, right? Which I'm not. This is all idealized math, right? So mathematically speaking, it works in theory. In practice, this is actually an interesting question, because there's a very high probability that the Communist Party is actually lying about shit like this. So, interesting. I might have to look into this.
And this is also factoring things like Mao's responsibility for murdering almost 100 million Chinese people.
Yeah. Also, when Mao found out that people actually didn't like him, he threw a fucking temper tantrum, like a child who's never been told no. It's actually kind of disturbing.
As well as things like the one-child policy. So it eventually slowed down the TFR, which led to the claims of the around 500 million population number. So that's another one. And then there's also the Japanese salt calculation rumor, right? Some online forums were circulating claims that a Japanese researcher in 2019 took China's edible salt production, about 6 to 7 million tons, according to an industry report. And
that's a lot of salt. We salt mining here, right?
then assuming a certain per capita daily salt consumption, concluded that China can only have about 800 to 900 million people. Now, is that totally crazy? Well, not as an idea, because using salt to estimate population is quite decent since everybody needs salt. It's a necessity.
Yeah, you need a certain amount of salt intake in order to survive, right? So if you use the minimum, the absolute minimum, you can calculate like the absolute minimum the absolute maximum population of a society under the assumption, right? Again, we're talking completely idealized, that everyone's borderline dying of salt, of a lack of salt, right? So like just on the edge, right? Just barely clinging to life. So yeah, you could. Again, and then you modify the metrics, right? You modify how much salt you assume people are ingesting, right? And then you can, tailor you can get estimates for different assumptions based on salt intake. So I actually think this is a really good metric. You have to base population off of women. Not necessarily, if we know how many children each pair in the generation is going to get, right? Yeah, it wouldn't really matter, because it's like if a couple has 2 children, then they've hit replacement rate, assuming one of the kids don't die, right? If you only have one, if every couple has only 1 child, then they have not hit replacement rate; they've hit a halving rate. So if each pair is allowed only 1 child, then each generation subsequent should be half the generation beforehand. It's easy to salt mine China's dictator. Yeah, just call him Winnie the Pooh, right? Let's see. Fresh sea salt is the best salt to consume. Sea salt is delicious.
Everyone literally consumes a baseline amount. You can't consume infinite amount of salt just because you're rich, because you will literally die. And you also don't usually, hoard things like packs of salt like you do with gold or silver. So in theory, salt consumption is a good estimate for approximating the population. But again, real life is messy, right? Some people cook blandly. Some people eat very salty food. Some salt go into
Yes, but they prioritize boys and abort girls because it's men who take care of the parents. It's also because the males carry the family name. That's another thing. Let's see. Grok suggests subtracting 20% of deaths for each generation. Well, regardless, we've established that it would be possible to reach that given the one-child policy. And actually, it didn't take nearly as long as I just initially expected because I don't really have a very good calculator in my head, right? But so it is possible, but it's again like how much is China lying about the starting population and about how many people are born subsequent generations? I think it's a high probability that there's a lot of lies that China is telling about its own society to make it look better, right? I don't think any one of us here is going to think that that's all that crazy a statement. So did they ever reach 1.4 billion? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they did at some point, just based off of some of the math here. Wouldn't surprise me if they lied about it, but again.
To food processing. There's also inventory, exports, and everything. You know, there's a lot of industrial stuff mixed into the numbers. So the Japanese salt story, again, never got a proper sort of recognition because they never really showed any proper calculations. It's just a back of the envelope sort of math.
Yeah. And yeah, if you're going to make a claim like this, you kind of have to, again, show your math, right? Like even then, like when I was trying to think about like, hold on, could we actually get to 1.5 billion from this starting population and then like working our way up the generations? I just started writing down on paper. It's like, hold on, there's like 900 and then half of 900 is 45, is like 450, and then half of that is 225, and then half of that is 112.5, and then let's just go down. I was like, okay. I was able to show it's like, okay, yeah, given this, yes, you could actually reach 1.4 billion, but at the same time, right? You know, it's like that was back of the envelope math, and that was based off of an idealized system where nothing goes wrong, right? Obviously, things go wrong. Things can go horribly fucking wrong, as we learned about China's COVID mishap, right? But even like back of the envelope math kind of stuff is that you can at least build the start of a case. But if you're not going to show your math at all, like even I just did a little bit of math to like at least show the point that it was at least possible. So I don't know why you wouldn't show your math. Iodized salt is full of toxic additives. Do not consume. I don't really eat salt, so most of the salt I consume is actually based off of sea salt. Funny enough, I'm not sure what they do with iodized salt. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so I'll definitely look into that.
Now, at best, there are things that are estimates or hints, but not proof. So the first serious expert-style challenge comes from Yifu Shan, who is a professor, I believe, based in Michigan. He says that the Chinese population, using official data from 1991 to 2000 and from 2001 to 2016, the reconstruction of fertility and mortality rates, and so that China's real population, based on his estimate, was around 1.28 billion.
Okay, so I'm going to be right back. This is going to be a little bit annoying for me because then I'm going to have to cut this section out of the video when I post it. I'm going to go get myself a glass of water so I stop coughing. So give me one moment. All right, I'm back.
Is more than 100 million lower than the official 1.388 billion at the time. Now, this is again important because he's not saying that there's 500 million people or 800 million people. What he's saying is that the numbers are inflated, but on the orders of tens of millions, maybe 100 millions, not half of the country. So it's not as bad. And then in 2022, something big drops. The Shanghai police database hack. The hacker, calling himself China Dan,
Oh, I forgot about this.
claims to have breached the Shanghai Public Security Bureau's database and extracted records on about 970 million people.
Okay, hold on. I want to read this. So, business hackers claim they breached data on 1 billion Chinese citizens. The leak, if authenticated, would be one of the largest in history, but many victims may never learn of it because government censors. This was on July 6, 2022, published at 5:23 p.m. EDT. Published, no, that was updated, not published. It was actually published. I don't know why they have the update first. Published July 6th, 2022 at 7:31 a.m. EDT. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Iodine overdose. We get all we need from meat and safe dose. Well, I mean, you're not supposed to eat salt on its own, right? My friend was deficient in salt after just eating sea salt, and her doctor had to tell her to put iodized salt in her diet. Or was it Himalayan salt? Either way, same thing. Either way, same ending. I'm not a dietitian. I don't know about a lot of this stuff. So it's like, it's not the field of subject. I mean, y'all all heard me talk about, like, again, political ideology and religion. It's not exactly the field of study that I'm familiar with, right? I know more about physics than I do about, like, dietary science. Because honestly, I think dietary science is largely pseudoscientific, but I digress.
He posts a sample of 750,000 records and offers the rest for sale on the dark web for about 10 Bitcoin. Now, obviously, we can't contact the hacker directly, but people have tried to use their sample, calling the phone numbers of these people to confirm that, yes, these are actual real records.
Okay, so in a post last week on an underground hacker forum, an anonymous poster, a group advertised the availability of the data and release sample that purportedly contained 750,000 records. The asking price of the entire 23 terabyte database was 10 Bitcoin, or about $200,000. The post has been since been locked by the site. The data included names, national identification, and phone numbers, medical records, details from police reports, and other information. Though the authenticity of the full database has not been confirmed, the Washington Post's review of some ID numbers appeared to track with information found on the government website. Let's see. The alleged hackers said there were several billion police reports, from thefts to fights to domestic violence, data from the late 1990s to 2019 included in the leak. The personal information and reported incidents were separate files. You need the iodized salt. It causes severe IQ issues without enough iodine. Okay, I'll let you all hammer this out in chat.
You have real names, real ID numbers, real phone numbers. Now, Yifu Shen and others also noted from this leak that the Shanghai Public Security Database is essentially the national registration system. And because inside China, the police data network is all interconnected, so this essentially means that that is the national registry. Now, if the leak really contains the entire population, then the number is not 1.4 billion. It's under a billion. It's 970 million. But here again, we need to take a pause.
I mean, still a lot of people, but not anywhere near what they were suggesting.
And ask the question, what exactly does 970 million records mean? Is it every living person, or is it every person with a certain type of ID?
I mean, obviously it's not every single person, because we've already covered that there are certain groups that are kind of just like undocumented and unpersoned without being killed in China, right? There's an entire ghost population of people, again, who weren't supposed to be born, who were supposed to be aborted, but they weren't aborted, and so instead of just killing them outright, they're just like, we're just going to ignore that you exist in the first place.
Are there separate databases for minors? Are all the records unique and up to date? Are people who died still in the system? Are Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan data included or not? None of that.
I didn't even think about that, but you know what? That's entirely fair. China believes itself to be the rightful heir of, like, the rightful, power over Taiwan. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were also potentially counting Taiwanese records, right, as their own, records under China. And if that's the case, then the population may be actually significantly lower than 900 million. West Taiwan, right? West Taiwan, right? Again, the mainland is simply occupied West Taiwan. One day, people will realize that the Chinese Communist Party has lost the mandate of heaven, right? And it will be reclaimed by the true heirs of the Chinese civilization. East China, right?
Obviously, we don't know anything about this, but the leak is real, and it shows us that the interpretation is murky at best. However, it still proves to us that the government has a massive connected database on this. It might not include every single person, but at least includes 970 million people. And before we continue, there's a great...
I mean, to be fair, communists also have this thing for centralization, right? So it would surprise me if they weren't trying to centralize as much of this information into as few like databases as possible, so that it can be accessed honestly by like anyone who is acting in like stead of the centralized government.
Initiative, I was recently told by a group of Chinese tech experts in the United States. What they're working on is sending direct links for Chinese people in China to access the outside world. How they're doing this? Well, this thing is quite expensive. For every $2,000, they can generate 100 links that people can easily click onto and be able to access the free web.
I think this is an ad.
Bypassing the censorship. For some data you might not know, less than 1% reported people in China actually know how to scale the firewall, and those that do tend to be on the younger side. However, with these 100 links, it provides unrestricted access for an entire month for tens of thousands of people. And so
Wait a minute.
this great effort caught my interest and I want to share it with you guys. So if you want to support this action, consider checking out the donation link. It's
Taiwan is the legitimate Chinese government. As if any government is legitimate, then yes, Taiwan would be the legit. The Republic of China is the legitimate government of China, right? I agree with you there.
in the description below, because this is your direct impact to help contribute to the fight to topple the Chinese Communist Party and its firewall of censorship. And it's probably...
Oh, hold on. This is an ad to help the soft warfare against the communists. You know what? Absolutely based. I'm going to have to look into this.
The most effective way to help Chinese people see the outside world, hear the outside world, and read the outside world. And that's also a mission of mine, which is to give hope to those inside China that there are voices amplifying their concerns outside. So again, consider checking out the link in the donation and support this initiative. It's tax deductible, and you'll be getting real usage reports to see where your money is being spent on. So thank you so much again, and back to the video. So now we add in a third type of data, raw salt production. Now, according to industry studies from 2015 to 2019, China's raw salt production averaged about 66 million tons per year. And then in 2020, it dropped to 58.5 million tons. In 2021, 57.1. 2022, it fell below 50 million to around 49.86 million tons. That's a drop from before the pandemic to after of roughly 24 to 25%. Why did salt production suddenly fall after COVID hit?
Interesting.
Well, in theory, you have two explanations, right? First, capacity fell because factories stopped and lockdowns cut production. Or second, demand fell. You have fewer people, weaker consumptions domestically. If capacity dropped...
Lay's Real Talk, a channel that does a lot of videos on these subjects. I'm pretty sure he actually mentioned her channel earlier, actually, Bearitarian. I'll have to check out her channel to see if hopefully she doesn't copyright claim videos that react to her stuff, because it would be really interesting to see what she has to say on various issues, right? It's like the only reason I haven't reacted to anything from like China or America Uncensored is like I have a sneaking suspicion I'm gonna get hit with a fucking copyright claim if I react to their stuff, right? Let's see. Buakli says they're dehydrated because they don't take enough salts while drinking water. Symptoms stop whenever enough mild toxins get introduced, forcing the body to end sickness by cleaning the blood. But this happens, your cells close down and stop hydrating. Again, I'll let y'all hammer this out in the chat.
but demand stayed the same in China. Well, they should have imported more edible salt, but they didn't. Well, maybe because demand really fell. So some researchers argue if per capita salt consumption was actually rising slowly as people's diet got saltier, then a 25% drop in raw salt output could imply an even larger drop in population. So that's around 25% or more. So if you take the official number of 1.4 billion and you cut 25% of that, that's 350 million people gone. Other factors, they also say, you could be looking at 400 million fewer people, of course, largely because of the pandemic, but that's, again, still a rough number, so let's just keep going. Now, We know that raw salt includes industrial salt, exports, inventory, policy decisions, and all those things, right? So it's just, again, another piece of the puzzle that something doesn't add up. Some other numbers. We have Chinese mobile carriers reported a cumulative loss of 21 million registered numbers at the beginning of the pandemic. Now, the official reason is that there were many migrant workers who moved back home, or you have...
Okay, yeah, this is literally the lady that he was talking about earlier. Hold on, just let me read what he was talking about. China's mobile carriers lose 21 million users as virus bites. Okay, so let's see. China's wireless carriers are reporting drops in users as the coronavirus crisis cuts business activity, with China Mobile Ltd, the world's largest carrier, reporting its first net declines and starting to report monthly data in 2000. China Mobile subscriptions fell by more than 800 million over January and February, data on the company's website show. China Unicom Hong Kong Ltd subscribers fell by 7.8 million in the period, while China Telecom Corporation has said it lost 5.6 million users last month. The rare industry-wide slump in subscribers shows the pandemic crisis that first emerged in China late last year is crimping growth even in businesses that provide essential services and earn monthly revenue. So Victor Lee says telecom a bright spot in virus spooked world. Okay, interesting.
Pandemic. Now, the official reason is that there were many migrant workers who moved back home, or you have people with multiple cell phone lines, so therefore they canceled that. But that's not really a case so common in China, because this happened at the height of COVID in 2020. Since a mobile number in China is attached to everything, right? WeChat payments, banking, every app that you want to log into, video games, or whatever other apps you use, unregistering a number is really not that common. And then there's also the cremation math. In 2019, UN data says China's natural death rate is about 7.2 per thousand, with a population for about the 1.4 billion mark. So that's around 10 million deaths per year. Cremation rate was about 52.4%, so roughly 5.2 million bodies were cremated annually in China, and 4.8 million were buried. So that works out to be about 430,000 cremations per month. Now, during the late 2022 COVID wave, workers, so this was after they announced that they were shutting down the lockdowns, workers at crematoriums all over China reported workloads of 8 to 10 times higher than that of 2019 levels.
Could you fucking imagine? It's like, okay, guys, we got more work to do. It's like, okay, and the work is 8 to 10 times your normal fucking work. Holy shit, right? I mean, granted, like you got a billion people in China allegedly, right? Even if it's only like 900 million, right? Even if it's only 500 million, right? It's still a decent chunk. It's still a decent number of people who are probably going to die every day that you don't have to cremate if you're in a cremation business, right? And then 5 to 10 times. 8 to 10 times, my bad. 8 to 10 times the fucking work. It's like, yeah, something's going on here. You would definitely notice that, right? China fails to release cremation data from late 2022 when its COVID-19 outbreak raged. Yeah, because I have a sneaking suspicion a lot more people died than they want known.
This part, I didn't really make it clear, but because in 2020, China didn't reveal how many people were cremated, we can only use the before 2020 data, which is 2019, to estimate the daily cremation rate. So what I did essentially is take the 430,000 per month cremation from 2019, divided that by 30 days to get what the each daily cremation number would be for the entire country, and that is also then divided by the number of crematoriums in 2022, and then that gives me about 8.2 cremations per day. Now, according to a BBC report from individuals in China where they interviewed, who they interviewed said that they saw a daily of about 50 to 100 people being cremated, and that these crematoriums were essentially working around the clock.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back just to read this entire section, right? I mean, he summarized it, but I still want to read it. He interviewed shop assistants in the vicinity of the funeral home who all said they had noticed an increase in the number of people coming and going these days. One of them specifically said that they estimated about 50 to 100 people are cremated here every day, whereas normally it would only be only a few dozen a day. Jiang Dai said, "Yeah." Imagine that, like, you get like a few dozen a day, and all of a sudden it's like you got a day where it's like 50 people have to be cremated. It's like something happened. But it's like, nah. It's like, we're bumping it up to 50 to 100 people every day. Something's going on, right? A lot of people are dying.
Cremated, and that these crematoriums were essentially working around the clock. Now, obviously, factoring that there is unlikely to be the same type of busyness in every single crematorium across China, but you can still take that and get an estimate for an increase from anywhere from about 5 to more than 10 times the number that it had happened. By the way, this is only using data from 2019, assuming nothing foul happened in 2022. But again, we all know extreme stuff happened, and so this again is not the most accurate estimate, but it is a number or a ratio that we can at least work with.
So if you assume that cremation rate temporarily dropped from 52% to 45% because of long waits and high costs pushing some families to bury their loved ones instead of cremation, you sustain that volume by 9 times for 3 months, you can estimate something like this. Roughly 11.6 million cremations in those 3 months, plus about 14.2 million burials. So that's like 25 to 26 million deaths in 3 months. Some netizens push that estimates even higher, up to 50 million deaths in one wave. Now, the reason why this is plausible or possible is because after the lockdown suddenly ended, a lot of these people who had been stuck at home didn't ever develop the immunity to the COVID virus, that then they suddenly got it, and that was very bad. And also,
Yeah, I actually remember that being part of the news, right? Wasn't it that like again, China was like, oh yeah, we've gotten this under control, and then they had another fucking spike. I might be misremembering this, right? But like I remember that being a thing, and you know, human memory is fallible, so it's like if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I remember something about that, right?
older people. That's also why you have a lot of these cremation-related issues coming out. And then you obviously have the recurring waves that happen after that. They call it different things like mycoplasma. They call it different things like mycoplasma pneumonia in 2023. There's also was a big pediatric surge in hospitals, younger kids. Then you have like so-called season flus. They were all suspected to be COVID outbreaks after the lockdowns ended, but they never called it that. And then you also see doctors in Guangzhou complaining about how the hospitals alone were seeing around 1,500 to 1,600.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it could definitely turn like even a normally treatable disease into a fucking deadly outbreak, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is just too many people to fucking deal with, right? Right about the Omicron time. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember the exact timeline, right? But like even if it's like a flu, right? But there's no way to really treat you. Because it's like, okay, yeah, you're just not going to, because there's too much happening. Even a treatable disease can become a deadly pandemic under these kinds of conditions, right? So it's like, this doesn't exactly surprise me.
1,500 pediatric patients a day during their peaks. So when you add everything together, you have the empty streets, the no people villages, the overloaded crematoria, you have the missing cremation.
So the opposite of the West, basically.
Data, the hacked police database, Russian grain calculations, Japanese salt rumor, and a US-based population expert saying that you're missing 100 million people, plus multiple waves of respiratory, essentially COVID, it's very easy to feel like that maybe China really did lose 300 to 400 million people. Maybe the real population is closer to 1 billion. Now, let's take a step back and bring in the boring calculation stuff. So fertility rate, life expectancy.
To be fair, I'm here for the boring calculation stuff. I want to see the boring calculation stuff. It's kind of really important to any of these investigations.
And generational math problems. In 1950, China had about 550 million people. Over the next 30 years, women had on average 5 to 6 children.
Wait, did he GPT this? I think he GPT'd this. I mean, to be fair, like, I have nothing wrong with that. GPT does have a calculator in it, but it's like, hold on, is this GPT? It looks like Chat GPT. Let's see.
Life expectancy rose from about 44 to the mid-60s. And even if you subtract 80 million unnatural deaths from famine and political movements,
Ah, yeah, this is Chat GPT.
the net effect of that kind of fertility is massive growth.
Okay. I know you're like skipping over this for like time constraint purposes, but I actually want to read this. So one baseline, what net growth is implied? You start with population 1949, which is 550 million. Population 2020 is 1.4 is 1,400 million. My bad. Time span 71 years. If we pretend the population grows at a constant net rate r, we get population 2020 would be equal population 1949 times e to the power of r times 71. Solve for r. R equals linear 1,400 divided by 550 over, so that entire thing, 71, which is approximately 0.0132 per year, which is approximately 0.13% net growth. The average net growth, birth minus death, ignoring migration. Okay, let's continue on. Chat Jippity. Well, when you seal people into their homes long after they ran out of food, I mentioned that earlier, actually, Beer Train, right? Again, it's like, I'm pretty sure they lost a lot more people than people want to think. Because I remember seeing those videos. I was like, that's fucking horrifying. Let's see where lifespan comes in. Life expectancy in this China-like case rose from roughly. Oh, okay, yeah, that's how we got around this. Low 40s, around 43 to 45 years in 1950 to 60, to about 77 years by 2020. So this is World Bank data is the citation here. That affects the replacement TFR. When people live longer and children survive more, you don't need births, as many births per women, just to keep population stable. I don't know why it cuts off at the end. Let's see. Around 2.1 is enough in modern conditions. The early... that sentence is cut off for me. Lifespan decades require a bit more than 2.1. Later decades, a bit less. Averaged 2.1 is a reasonable benchmark for over the second half of the 20th century. That's exactly why high early fertility plus improving life expectancy equals huge population boom. Later low fertility plus still high life expectancy equals aging and eventual decline. So let's see frame by frame if we get anything. I understand none of this. Fair. It's all just a bunch of basic math. None of it's all that. Yeah. Let's see. Add 800 million. They're just talking about like the methodology and the math involved, right? Add 80 million unnatural deaths. Now inject 80 million extra deaths between 1949 and 2020, famine, political violence, etc. But you still want 1.4 billion in 2020. Spread evenly, very rough, but good enough for back of the envelope. Extra deaths per year would have to be around 80 million divided by 71, or 80 million or over 71, which would be 1.1 million a year. Average population would be, again, approximately 550 plus 1,400 divided by 2, approximately 975 million. Extra death rate of approximately 1.1 over out of 975 would be approximately 0.00115 per person per year, approximately 0.115% per year. To still hit 1.4 billion in 2020, your gross growth rate has to overcome both normal deaths and these extra deaths. So the R gross would be approximately R old plus 0.00115, which would approximately 0.0132 plus 0.00115, approximately 0.0143, or times let's see 1.4, not 0.1, 1.43% per year. Recompute growth per generation. We have e to the power of 0.0143 times 29, which equals approximately 1.51.
Death from famine and political movements. The net effect of that kind of fertility is massive growth. And that's how you get from 550 million to about 980 million by 1980. So from 1980 to 2000, fertility dropped from about 2.7 to around 1.6 because of the one-child policy. Life expectancy continues to rise into the low 70s. Now the population still grows, just slower, right? From 980 million to about 1.26 to 1.3 billion.
Okay, hold on. I still want to read this. So one-child policy starting in 1980. The one-child policy implemented around 1980 crushed fertility in reality. China's TFR dropped from 2.7 in 1980 to near or below replacement, approximately 1.5 to 1.8 by the 1990s, and around approximately 1.3 to 1.6 in the 2010s. See, to still average approximately equal to 3.2 over the whole 71-year period with sub-replacement TFR, so approximately equal to 1.3 to 1.7 for the last 40 year, approximately 40 years. You are forced to have a very high TFR, 5 to 7 in the first 30 years, 1950s through 70s. That basically what the UN World Bank data shows for China. Insanely high fertility early on, then a cliff downwards after 1970s. So your hypothetical is actually very close to the real demographic story. Pre-1980, big families, many children per woman, based. Post-1980, one-child policy drives TFR far below replacement, but you're riding the momentum of the huge birth cohorts from the earlier decades. Yeah, which is something we were talking about earlier, right?
Slower, right? From 980 million to about 1.26 to 1.3 billion.
If you think what happens in China was sus, wait till you investigate all the other demics throughout time. Turns out people get sick if they live in toxic environments and eat bad food like grain. Well, again, different populations have different dietary needs, right? There's no universal human dietary need. We are all adapted to the environments of our ancestors, and yeah. Okay, let's see.
2020 to 2022, fertility stayed below replacement and fell towards somewhere like the 1.3 to 1.0. Life expectancy continues to climb to around 78% in that period, or 78 years in that period. Huge birth cohorts push the population up a little bit, around 1.4 billion, and then it peaks, starts to decline today, right? That generational pattern, the big boom, the slowdown, and plateau and decline, is fitting with the official data from the UN.
So China's looming demographic challenge could upend world order. Despite previous booms in population, China now faces slow growth coupled with an aging population. No shit, right? China's population is set to shrink by more than 150 million by 250, while the proportion of seniors will keep on rising. That what the nation's future will shape up to be.
Statistics. But if you want to argue that today's real population is about 1.4 billion, you technically don't have the ground for it. Because at minimum, you're losing 100 million people just because you're overestimating your data. And we also can't fully trust the Chinese data.
Yeah.
The math works out, right? Just as we explained, at least there's 100 million lower than what is actually being reported. And then plus all of the extra stuff. So if you want to argue today that China's real...
So basically, like, again, they lied about their initial population, and then they also lied about how many people died because of COVID. Unsurprisingly on both accounts, if we're being perfectly honest, right?
Population is about 1.3 billion. Actually, you'll be at least, more correct than the official numbers, because at least according to Yifu Shen, that's where things line up. But considering we had 3 years of zero COVID, and considering that we have all of the other evidence suggesting, such as the 2022 leak, that China's population is much lower than what is being reported, then there's no way that today's population in China is 1.4 billion. And the fact that there could possibly be less than 1 billion people in China.
China's environment is fucked up. Everything's contaminated. Well, I mean, yeah, but we also did used to paint houses with lead. So, poisonous. Poison is just a thing for like cheap construction material, and a lot of other like cost cutting measures. It's just a thing that like happens in like any kind of yeah. There's a lot of places that have poisonous environments. Let's just say that China has a very poisonous environment because, again, but yeah.
Is very much a real argument. And here's where things get interesting. So let's say if we can calculate exactly based on the number of missing people from that 1.4 billion, I think we will end up somewhere around 1 billion. And that actually lines up with the leaked data from that hacker, but also lines up with somewhere north of those Russian and Japanese estimates. If we go a step further and claim that China only has around 500 million people, well, then you would have to claim that almost all of their recorded growth since 1950 was fake, and that hundreds of millions of real births either never existed or they were simply, wiped out. Half the population vanished. I simply don't think we're there yet in terms of the data that supports this. But there's other ways to look at this. For example, Luis Martinez, a professor at the University of Chicago, published a report stating that China's economy might be 60% smaller than we thought.
Yeah, again, they have an incentive to lie about this kind of stuff. How much should we trust the dictator's GDP estimates? What a fucking title. Holy shit. By Luis R. Martinez, Harris School of Public Policy, University of Chicago, first version December 2017, this version June 2018. It's funny, we already made all the mistakes and they had plenty of data to learn from it, but the CCP screwed their people for a tiny bit of money. Yeah.
He used nightlight satellite maps and electricity usage, and it contradicts official statistics due to the fact that the economic growth is correlated with increased electricity consumption, and yet the amount of nightlights from China seen by satellites does not correlate with that number. So if we are to believe China's population is nowhere near its official numbers, then we also can't believe that their GDP is real. And actually, if their GDP isn't real according to this study, it could likely be the reason that their electricity...
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that it's at all comparable. I'm just saying that like many societies, when they're moving from like when they're in the developing phase, are highly toxic, right? But that being said, yes, you are absolutely right. Like India and China have some massive issues with pollution and like environmental poisoning. People want to bitch and moan about the first world, but it's like they have never seen a trash mountain in fucking India. Let's see, and they've definitely never seen, again, tofu dreg construction in China, and it's like, this is all fucking ridiculous. Fields of electric scooters rotting away and such. Yeah, I am aware.
The usage is not matching because obviously they don't have the same number of people. Or as we thought. Now, Professor Martinez looked at 184 countries between 1992 to 2008 and compared the growth of lights at night in each country to the growth of GDP of that particular country reported. What he found is that, as expected, when night lights grew, all countries typically also reported a GDP growth. But when making a distinction between autocratic and democratic countries, a clear pattern emerged. Autocratic countries typically reported a whopping 35% higher GDP growth numbers compared to the nightlights growth. And so for China specifically, Martinez states that based on his analysis, China's GDP growth between 1992 and 2008 was likely 4.9% per year rather than its average reported growth of 6.3%. So that tells us that they might not be working with the actual number of people that they're telling us. Again, this is all based on numbers. The actual experience, if you go to China, and you're going to see people everywhere, especially if you go to the tier 1 cities. The major cities, just like you would go with LA or New York or Chicago, there's a lot of people. So the question is, where does this leave us? Well, the simple answer is, it's awkward. It's an interesting middle ground. China's 1.4 billion people in 2020 is probably on the high side. And after 2020, before the end of zero COVID, I believe that China has lost anywhere from 300 million to 400 million people. And there's now...
Yeah, and I think that he's probably right on this. The CC Pooh party, yeah. Winnie the Pooh, right? But, yeah. So just think about that. Like, China during this whole fucking thing, 300 to 400 million people lost. Fucking ridiculous shit. Oh my god. But yeah. Just again, horrors beyond the comprehension of your average man. Not mine, but horrors beyond the comprehension of most people.
Credible data to suggest that the real figure is more like something around, I would say, lower than a billion. Now that we have credible numbers to back up or circumstantial numbers to back up the claim of below a billion, I think it's very worth to explore and be skeptical of the 1.4 billion people that they say. Obviously, there's a population decline now, and it's going to be a very problematic situation for China. I think that
Yeah, and China Uncensored and a bunch of other people have covered this too. Is the idea that like again they're trying to figure out how to walk back the one-child policy because of their population issues without losing face. U.S. level population. Oh my God. Yep. Just fucking ridiculous.
It's time for us to take seriously, not discount, any claims so far. Now, some of them might be pretty wild, even for me to believe, but I still think that there's enough circumstantial evidence, because we'll never get the direct evidence, to think something is up. So thanks so much for watching this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you worked up your own calculations, share those with me as well. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
Again, I quite like this. I quite like this analysis, right? So this was David on China and China Insider with David Zhang. So yeah, go give these people a follow if if y'all enjoyed this, because I quite enjoyed this. Let's see. Hey guys, China Insider has been demonetized and is waiting for reapplying application. While doing that, I wanted to upload some of the popular videos here. Please subscribe to this new channel. Thank you very much. So, again, like, if you want to support this guy, feel free to support this guy, but apparently he's now, like, demonetized, which, yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm sure a few cell phone providers or WeChat executives know the real numbers. That's an interesting observation. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Hold on. Bold Republic News. Let's see. Let's not pull a Candace Owens and just believe this because it's read, but I'm still going to read this, right? YouTube kisses the CCP boot. Always has, right? See, I lived in China from 2014 to 2025. The decrease in people in traffic was very noticeable. After 2015 to 2016, general enthusiasm and sense of hope for the future fell off. That's why you also had an increase in things like mass stabbing incidences. Construction began to noticeably decrease after 2016. Traffic on the high speedways was down even during holidays, especially after COVID. While the COVID casualties started much earlier, like September/October 2019, and were significantly higher than officially revealed, I don't believe that fully accounts for it. What I've seen is many locals lost their jobs and returned to their hometowns. Many people went abroad, others moved as supply chains moved. Several close friends went to Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, and at school enrollment was way down my last 5 years from like 8 classes of grade 1 to 4 classes of grade 1. That's 100 to 140 less students per year at one school. Crazy. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure this explains it. Like, again, people moving might explain it, right? It's like, again, Chinese CCP, Chinese citizens effectively working for the CCP to, like, again, have American children, which then become American voters, not just anchor babies, but potentially American voters in the future. Yeah, that is a thing we've also known has been a thing that could account for a certain degree of the population, but it's not anywhere near the sizable thing. Like, we didn't have 300 million Chinese people come over here, right? So it's like, I don't think that really accounts for these numbers either. Like, it does seem like a lot of these people just kind of just disappeared, and probably not for very good reasons, right? It actually would not surprise me if these were mostly people who died, and then a small fraction of these missing people were people who moved abroad or moved across China. Because, again, that salt metric is actually really clever, and I think that's a solid baseline to start with, personally. But those are just my thoughts. Feel free to let me know what y'all think in the comments section. I'll see y'all next time, and Deus Vult, never suffer a communist. May Taiwan retake one day mainland China and reobtain the mandate of heaven. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Close that out. Flock of Cows runs VTubing agency. Okay, I'll probably react to this later in the thing. I'm probably gonna go with this next. Let's see. Collapse of 3 countries is one I should have reacted to a couple days ago. Okay, yeah, I got a bunch here. I'm not gonna react to the Kirsha thing recently, just because I usually listen to some of these stuff at work to help pass the time, and I haven't listened to that one at work yet. So, summon the 40K Emperor. Can both Sherlock Holmes, Batman, and L figure out the numbers? Better question is, would they work together, right? I didn't really. I'm not a big fan of Death Note. So son of a bitch, I closed it out. Hold on, I wasn't thinking. I closed it out. Give me one moment to pull this up. Hold on, let me subscribe to her channel. Okay, history. Okay. Actually, this just happened, so I can just find this on Rev's fucking. It happened like 2 hours before I started streaming. If I could spell and not like write like a fucking schizophrenic. Yeah, that was 4 hours ago. Okay, so that's literally one of the first things advertised.
All right, guys, I want to take some time and.
Okay, pause this. This is back up here, so we could just deal with this as well. She looks like Winnie. Exactly, right? That's why everyone started calling them Frog. So funny enough, Winnie the Pooh and Frog were for a time. I don't know if Frog still is, but for a time were things that were moderated as terms because they were associated with Xi Jinping, right? Okay. So now we're gonna look at Reddit freaks are threatening Kirsha, and you won't believe why. And I have a sneaking suspicion this will be a lie, because I can believe a lot of things, especially when it comes to American Maoists, which I think are going to be the people that are going to be fucking up, trying to fuck with her.
Resident Shudette Kirsha.
Shudette. Okay. We've gotten to the point where a 90s Democrat is a Shudette, right? Foxu! Exactly, right?
Who is once again angering all of the worst people. In this case, she is angering...
Judge me by my enemies. And this is how I knew that I would always be on Chibi Reviews' side. Because I've seen his enemies. I've seen who boo him. And I'm not impressed.
Redditors. Now, she is not very well liked on Reddit. But then again, who really is? Okay? Anybody who has an opinion, even a hair length to the right of Mao Zedong, is an enemy of...
See, the thing is I'm not entirely sure that Rev actually knows how actually correct he is on this thing, because again, wokeism, right? Wokeism 1.0 was effectively just an American reinterpretation of Maoism, just like Maoism was well, actually, to be fair, Maoism was a conservative Stalinist offshoot. And Stalinism itself was an offshoot of Marxism, which was actually, again, decently conservative as far as Marxists, ideologies go. And I'm covering up Rev, so I need to move my character. But I'm not entirely sure these people actually understand, ideologically speaking, how close these people actually are to Mao Zedong, right? It's like yeah, sure. It's like the joke is like anyone to the right of Mao Zedong, but it's like no, these people are actually unironically American Maoists, right? Like
the Redditors. But I want to go through this absolutely golden thread. Okay, it really goes places, and I want to show you guys what's going on here. So Kirsha makes this post saying, "The people missing parts of their brain are mad at me and wanting me to never feel safe again. For checks notes, posting a book I bought due to it having a historical synopsis and knowing nothing about it or its author. Wonder what the approved literature list is." And this...
I'm curious as to what this ultra nationalist. Let's see if this is actually correct.
This is from the VTuber drama subreddit, which is an absolute wasteland, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see this tweet from Kirsha with her plushie here. And it says, "Kirsha flaunts book from pro-white ultra-national..."
Incoming a cosmic Death Note rant. Fair note. Nah, I'll leave it be, right? For the glory of Korshkovo. Actually, I really like that name. I'm going to use it. Catgirl Korsha, yep. offshoot of an offshoot.
Nationalist and pro-apartheid thinker Andres Bernardus Dufries, and they are very upset about this. They're mad about books, ladies and gentlemen. I thought these woke people loved reading banned books and stuff like that. That, you know, makes them some sort of a superhero, but
None of these people have ever actually read any of this shit. A lot of these people don't actually read in the first place, right? Like, they legitimately don't. I hate these people. No society, whether it be run by Thomists, libertarians, objectivists, or fucking like Scottish common sense realists, no society can really put up with communists, or, let's be perfectly honest, Democrats. Right? Just this is why I support covenant communities. Just like, again, get together if you can with people who have similar beliefs, enter into a covenant with each other. Part of that covenant is physically removing people who invade your space and do not belong. It's just
not in this case, apparently. Let's read through the thread here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's old. I'm just not as familiar with the Kirsha lore as I am the Pakistani lore, right? I remember when she was like, "It's Pip America," and everyone was like, "No, we shall be Pip Pakistan," right? Let's see. It's about making someone feel like this as uncomfortable as possible. So, not to sugarcoat it, you want to start another harassment brigade, quote unquote. She's been getting that plus lost opportunities, plus doxing and death threats for a while now. At this point, your public outcry is only feeding her resolved. That's -7, by the way, so people don't like this. Let's see. It's about people like her not deserving comfort or being permitted to settle into a space without pushback. Hope that helps. So that was Asinine Archon, interesting name, right? People like her should not feel safe ever again. So she was directly quoting the Fran for the rest of their life. This is a neutral statement. So it's a neutral statement. And by the way, it looks like it's a picture of Corone with tape over her mouth as like the actual. Let me turn my character off for a moment so you can see. Looks like they have a picture of Corone Inugami for with tape over their mouth as their profile pic, so that's interesting. But yeah, so it's like saying people like Kirsha should never feel safe again for the rest of their life is a neutral statement to this person. These people are incapable of neutrality because neutrality to them is their side.
So, not to sugarcoat it, you guys want to start another harassment brigade, referring to another user saying it's about making someone like this feel as uncomfortable as possible, referring to Kirsha. This person says, well, she's been getting that, plus lost opportunities, plus doxing and threats for a while now. At this point, your public outcry is only feeding her resolve. And you can see...
And to be fair, it's like, yeah, at this point, why should Kirsha give these people anything, right? They deserve nothing. All they do is they destroy, they create nothing. So it's like, yeah, this is like one of those things where it's like, it's entirely reasonable to continue out of like spite of this person, to be perfectly honest, right? It's like the thing I was saying, it's like, look, if Islamic extremists come after you, fucking double down. Like, they're not going to stop. They're the only thing that these people understand, like, whether they be these antis or the other people, is just like is just not giving a fuck and continuing, right? Let's see. Kirsha or Kirshia, the Principality of Korshovo are neighbors to Pakistan. Like, I gather that, I understand that, right? Redditor's mad at Korshu because she's an uncontrollable woman.
-7 up dudes, or I should say 7 down dudes. I gotta get the Reddit language correct here. But yeah, they're really mad when they hear the truth, right? They're saying like, oh yeah, Kirsha, she's...
At this point, they're just embracing evil. A lot of these people will say they don't believe in evil, but I mean, they definitely treat you as evil for being a quote-unquote heckin' Nazi chud, right? They do believe in it, even if a lot of these people will just like openly say they don't. And it's like, well, you seem to act as if you have a concept of good and evil, even if you believe yourself too high and mighty to say it. But yeah, some of these people are just like objectively evil people. Why didn't that work? That should have unpaused the video.
Never been through it. Let's make sure she feels uncomfortable. Like, guys, you wackadoos have been coming after her for a long time. Like, you're already doing this.
Yep.
Very clearly. But this user replies saying it's about people like her not deserving comfort or being permitted to settle into a space without pushback.
Again, because she is uncontrollable, as you said, yeah, as you said, Boo Huckley, she has to be destroyed. Because that's all this is about. It's about the control of the means of cultural production, and VTubing is a means of cultural production. So just like they wanted to take, just like they took over the animation industry, just like how they took over the comic industry, and just like these jackasses took over movie entertainment through subversion, the entire goal here is the subversion of the VTubing market. That way they can control cultural production in this method as well. And funny enough, you can tell who these people are, and they're useful idiots whenever someone says something about the VTuber community. There is no VTuber community. That should be bleedingly obvious, right? What community does Niara share with Pipkin Pippa, or with fucking Hakos Bales, or with Lily Hops? Right? What? real question. What? I'm going to use a very extreme example of like two people who would almost certainly not like each other. What overlapping community does Kirsha and Feeblemind have in common with each other? Right? Like, serious fucking question, right? No, not Kirsha and Feeblemind. Sorry, my brain is still on the Foxu. I mean, fucking Koki, like Koki Saparana. And Feeblemind, not Kirsha. Fuck! I'm not entirely sure that Kirsha and Feeblemind would get along. I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. And I don't know that they wouldn't get along, right? It's just, I was thinking about something else while talking. I was like, hold on, I had a stray thought thinking, and then my brain fucking messed up my words. Fuck! Okay. There's a lot of overlap. Yeah, no, my brain went full retard, right? That was actually on me. I'm totally responsible for that one. That one was me fucking up. Grand Foxu Sovereign. VTuber models. Well, I mean, again, even there, not everyone's the same. Like, not everyone does the same stupid bullshit that Nanolist does, for example, right? There are other people you can get VTuber models from. Hell, Chikage, right, does VTuber rigging, and he does it for a lot. He does it for a very low price compared to everyone else. Now you don't even need the VTuber rigging in the same way, right? We got PNG tubers, we got, you know, the 2D live tubers, we got people who do 3D tubing, and, you know, for example, like what Filian did a lot of the time. And then we have, you know, now leaf tubing, right? So it's like, what fucking, like, what community is there? There is no VTuber community. Anyone who says that there is a VTuber community is a tourist for the most part. Either that or a subversive actor or a useful idiot. One of those groups, right? What an embarrassing fucking thing. I was thinking of I'm gonna keep that in just because that is absolutely embarrassing and funny at the same time. Holy shit. Hello Road. Hello Road. Let's see. Leaf tubing, yeah, the AI stuff. Like the AI, the leaf tubing is the AI, because the AI PNGs, right? My point exactly. Yes.
Hope that helps. And then another totally not deranged individual says, people like her should not feel safe ever again for the rest of their life. These
people do not forgive and they do not forget. Right? Trying to appease them is worthless because they will never accept you once you have gone onto the wrong side. Not that I have any reason that anyone should want to appease these people anyway. Leaflet is making an open source DIY VTubing tool / suite. I mean, she's already made it. It's already out there to be used. I have it on my computer. It's just I haven't had the time to use it. VTubing is a group of many nations, some of whom are at war with each other. Yes, basically. Lamer than Anon.
Is a neutral statement. These people are deranged, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing the good guys, the superheroes on Reddit, right? Doing their Marvel LARP here, thinking they're superheroes. But in reality, all they're doing is harassing a woman nonstop and wanting to make sure she never feels comfortable again.
Yep.
Because she does the crime of wrongthink.
And also because she's a woman and they feel like they can actually just abuse her. There's a particular vitriol that these people who believe in this like class conflict theory, which all of these people do, where it's like the oppressed class, quote unquote, then rises up against them as the liberators. It's like, yeah, because they believe that they have a right to your labor, right? You as the oppressed don't belong to yourself. You belong to us, the liberators, right? So it's like, yeah, when a poor person sides with a rich person, they can get pretty fucking bitter about it, right? When a fucking again, when someone who's like black sides with the quote unquote white, right? Or when someone who's BIPOC sides with the quote unquote white, think of like Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, all the shit that they had to go through, right? It's like, yeah, these people don't actually care about that. They just care that you serve them, right? It's the same thing with women. Think about how much slander Ayn Rand got, right? How much abject lies were actually told about what she believed. And also G.E. Anscombe, right? Well-respected Thomist and analytical philosopher as he was a woman. Think about how much they fucking despise her. Think about how much shit that people like Christina Hofsummers have had to have endured by the left, right? These people hate the minority, quote unquote, the oppressed, when the oppressed don't actually agree with their allegedly liberatory worldviews. And they will absolutely abuse them specifically as a sort of class traitor, right? It just happens to be funny that in the case of like race politics, like with critical race theory, the class traitor actually just ends up being a race traitor by like the overlap of the categories. Let's see. The concept of a fox girl is dangerous to modern day politics because foxes have have foxy behavior. Even LARPing or thinking about fox girls will open your curiosity to questioning other beliefs. Exactly.
But
the kitsune has been renowned for their cleverness and their mischief.
Twitter thread covering all this continues to go places, okay? This user saying this guy doesn't seem to live in objective reality and just wants to start stuff. Where you can see this post from the VTuber drama subreddit saying Kirsche responds to Reddit post with fears of safety and alluding to calls for violence, proceeds to showcase docs of someone mere hours ago. And then, it continues.
I highly doubt that Kirsche actually doxed anyone. Very fucking doubted. But I do think that counter-doxing should be on the table, right? If you get doxed, I don't really understand why counter-doxing would be such a bad idea, right? It's like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? You were posted a meme about them deserving the product of our work. The one by Iron Tiger. Yes, the one by Iron Tiger, right? It's yes.
Responded to a post I made regarding her and attempted to create a false equivalency narrative live on stream to an audience of thousands. Good thing it was all recorded. Claiming I am alluding to calls for violence despite no such evidence existing. It's the same user who I believe said she should never feel safe again. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's obviously projection, right? They do these things and then they accuse you of doing the things that they're doing.
Someone means when they say someone should never feel safe again. Does that sound like a call to violence, or does someone reading a book feel like a call to violence? I'll let you, the viewer, decide. But
well, again, you got to remember these people not even 10 years ago were like silence is words are violence. So if you criticize them or you oppose them verbally, you are committing violence. But also, they then said silence is violence. So even if you didn't say anything on the topic, you were guilty of violence. And what that means is that, again, if words are violence, then that means responding to your words with violence is proportional. On the other hand, if silence is violence, responding to your silence with violence is proportional. So, we shouldn't be surprised about this. I think a good chunk of us remember all this.
This post continues on saying she deflects her criticisms by saying the post is engaging in false truths and lies. Not even a mere 2 hours after ego surfing and talking over the person making the arguments rather than to them, she proceeds to hop onto Kiwi Farms and showcase a live docs page of someone she doesn't like. Hypocrisy like this speaks to itself and showcase how dangerously OP is lying, especially when it's someone like her she does not care about. And Kirsha responds saying, "Oh, he's that weird Asmongold profile picture reply guy that lies about everything already." And
oh my god, this guy has a fucking documented history. Okay, that's even funnier. Submit and embrace their ideology or be punished, kiss the shit-covered boot. I mean, in my opinion, I would rather die. Right? I would unironically rather die.
don't worry,
Literally, my opinion is better dead than red, right?
the weird Asmongold profile picture
But I'd rather also win than die. So it's like,
guy will show up in just a second, right? I have seen that individual many times. He is
get bodied. Exactly, right?
the Caped Crusader. He is Reddit Batman. He just goes around on social media whining about a bunch of people that have wrongthink and goes to enormous lengths to make sure they don't feel safe. Right, but here's another user saying, you talking about that TK guy, he replied to you earlier, he replied to your earlier post, and I almost responded to it, but I figured I just let him mold into obscurity, which is based. That is a good route, ladies and
Yeah, there does come a point where it's actually better to not respond to someone because they're just literally not worth responding to. Which I think is what Talon Aronson was like figuring out. Is like, hold on, is this someone that's actually worth my time? Right? Let's see. Naruto is part fox and he turned his inverted ninja society upside down. Nick Wilde, the fox from Zootopia, helped save society twice with his bunny partner / waifu. Star Fox, enough said. Indeed. I will be honest though, I have not watched Zootopia 2 and I have no particular plans to do so. Let's see, LMAO, I agree, better to die on your feet than live on your knees. True, but it's also better to live than to die in the first place, right? So, you know, you have, like, it's what Nux says, you have a moral obligation to win.
gentlemen, let the psycho sometimes mold into the void. It's a fate worse than death for a lot of these people. But then Kirsha replies to that saying, yeah, the TK guy made the exact same tweet as the Reddit OP, despite there being no docs on the page. I was reading people clowning on him here, so I guess he had to go rile up an echo chamber he knows will do dirty work for him and start up harassment again.
Again, these people, like, numbers are their strength, right? They want to cause mischief, they want to cause chaos, they want to actually disturb the society around them, disturb the peace, and then frame you as being bad for pointing out what they're doing. I don't like these subversive people. Oh my god. Let's see. Foxes are based. Let's see. Well, if you're gonna die, might as well go out like Kukulane. Yep. Absolutely.
And this is the exact same post. So here's the Asmongold profile picture guy.
Beowulf is also another one where it's like, again, victory. Even if you yourself can't beat the victim, beat the fucking villain. Lead someone else alongside you that can beat the villain in your stead and that you can watch beat the villain, right? Oh my goodness. I always find it funny that the dragon in Beowulf basically acts like a spring.
Posting the same thing as the Reddit thread onto Twitter, so it's very obvious that's the same user. And of course, there they are! Totally not searching up everyone they hate constantly. How do you find stuff like this otherwise? Saying claims to have photos of the other books she was going to post, somehow post the only book that is essentially the Mein Kampf of South Africa.
Is it even that? I don't even believe him. Like, I don't know what this book is, but I genuinely don't believe this guy. First of all, I don't believe he knows what the contents of Mein Kampf actually is, right? Second of all, which, by the way, Mein Kampf is poorly written, wouldn't suggest. If you actually want to understand, like, Nazi ideology, you'd be better off reading National Socialism by Rudolf Jung, which the guy actually tried to explain what exactly he believes, and it shows just how dumb the Nazi ideology is. Unlike Mein Kampf, which is a spell book, which is designed to put you, the reader, under a spell. Right? Now, if you understand how the spell works, it doesn't work, because then you know someone's trying to put you under a spell. I digress, though, right? But I highly doubt that this book, per se, is the Mein Kampf of fucking South Africa. But even if it was, that doesn't mean anything. You still have to read this shit to understand what the hell is going on, right? It's like, okay, what's motivating this behavior? Oh, why don't I actually read the thing the person has written to explain himself, to actually, like, again, get a better understanding of the people I'm having to deal with? These people do not understand that actually understanding reality around them, which includes the people around you, is kind of really fucking important. When Kukulane died, he still killed his killer. Exactly. I'm just saying that, like, the backup is, hopefully, if, like, you can't kill the killer, someone else can kill the killer, and you can at least live to see the killer killed, right? It feels like I've been inside the Bendy episode of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends the past decade. Oh, that one hit. That one hit. What book is she showing? I have no fucking idea. I don't know anything about South Africa. I'd probably have to ask someone like either Psychro or fucking Gaming Syndicate. Let's see.
Who is regarded enough to believe someone that lies for ad revenue in Twitch donos? They've said a lot of things about Kirsha lying and doxing people and doing all these heinous things. And there hasn't been one coherent piece of proof. Besides 90% of it just being like, trust me, the little bit of quote-unquote evidence they try to introduce doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even line up with their claims. It's actually insane.
So I'm going to have to point this out, like, TK kind of, in TK's defense, and I hate doing this, you can't really prove the thing by, like, a citation without, like, with the doxing, unless you link to a report, which I wouldn't believe from this person anyway, right? Or two, directly just showing the docs as it happened, and I wouldn't exactly suggest doing it anyway, right? Ancillary, like, other than that, though, it's like just the way he's behaving and the way that, like, all of this is happening leads me to believe this guy is almost certainly a fucking, like, a pathological liar. Did my stream go down? Hopefully not. I'm getting throttled. Not receiving enough viewer. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, let me try something. Oh, well, that's unstable, but it's still going, so I don't know why that's the case. I don't really care for Kick, because Kick doesn't seem to have anyone on it. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but YouTube's being throttled, it seems. I don't even know where I was with this. Long story short, you have to read the books of your enemies in order to understand how they actually function.
But of course, people continue on saying, LMAO, you want to talk about books? Here's your dictator simping and cosplaying.
Oh, yeah. The devil's advocate for TK, right? But on the other hand, it's like, yeah, sure, that was I already gave the devil's advocate, but at the same time, you know, observation would lead me to believe that this person, you know, again, just based on background information we have, probably a lying scumbag.
Oh, she. With Hassan soy-facing, literally soy-facing over Mao Zedong's Little Red Book. I will never forget this. This is the most pathetic moment in history. Pure propaganda slop from Hassan. Bootlicking dictators, bootlicking a dictator responsible for tens of millions.
Again, my opinions is, I've made my opinion known about this. I don't think Hassan should qualify for citizenship. I think if you read this 14th Amendment and actually read the words of the people who wrote the 14th Amendment, it's very clear you need to have political jurisdiction of the United States, not some magic soil, to make you an American citizen. So, my opinion, this motherfucker should be denaturalized and he should be deported. I don't care if they deport him to China. Just any fucking place that's not in the United States.
Of his citizens starving to death, among other political executions.
It started buffering? Yeah, I kind of gathered. I don't know what causes that, and I can't really do anything about it. But I turned off a lot of background processes just to prevent that from happening, but I guess it still happens, right?
And things like that. But then, Asmongold profile picture guy says, based as F. Also, the Little Red Book isn't viewed in the same lens as Mein Kampf is. As one is created for propaganda of Mao's government and communism, while the other is explicit rhetoric aimed at bringing the ending and destruction of an entire ethnic group. Hope this helps.
Okay, so what happens to the entirety of the bourgeoisie? What happens to the bourgeoisie? What does Mao and Marx and Stalin, what do they want to happen to the bourgeoisie? Last I checked, when I was reading through the works of Marx, one of the pillars of communism was the murder of their enemies. So, yeah. Detain, denaturalize, deport, exactly. Ooh. Hold on, I might be able to make a song out of that. I'm gonna write that down, hold on. Hold on. Detain, denaturalize, deport. The slaughter of the middle class, yeah. Well, the middle class is the petty bourgeois, right? So
These people lie as easily as they breathe. And also, look at the brutality here. 10,000 views, 0 likes.
And again, this is what you eat the rich, right? Again, literally eat the rich. Very violent language. But this is, again, never... You should not tolerate communists in your midst, right? If you find, again, this is why covenant communities are really important. There should be conservative and libertarians should be able to set up their own covenant communities. And when a communist comes in and like trespasses on the covenant community, they should be able to be physically removed from the premises. I'm just saying, that's my entire that's my thing, right? And the way that you do this is every part of the covenant community should be private property, right? In fact, actually, there is actually a community in the United States where even the road is private property, where up to the center line of the road itself, that is also private property. So the property line extends into the halfway point of the road. That way, if someone who's not supposed to be in the community drives into the neighborhood, they can also be trespassed. So, yeah, again, I am full on for covenant communities and physical removal. If some communist dickhead like this gets into like a conservative community and starts causing trouble, it's like, yeah, you know, you'll be asked to leave, and if you will not leave, you will be physically thrown out, right? And if you resist, well, this is private property, and conservative and libertarians have a particular idea about what happens when you try to deprive someone of the use of their property, right? When I am dealing with a communist, I hear my inner Vlad whisper in my ear, based.
10,000 people scrolled past this reply, and not a single one chose to like it. Not one person agreed. This isn't Reddit, homeboy. Okay, nobody is supporting this wackadoo speech over here and your delusions. And of course, they have 17 comments all dunking on them, but it gets even worse. As Triggerpoint points out, this guy is crashing out with a whole slew of edits. Brother, if you need 4 edits to your post to try to make a point, you have lost the plot.
Okay, I'm not even going to try reading most of that because, again, the little sticker in front of it. But I can at least read these two because it's like right here, and Rev's head is covering part of this. It's like, edit, hi, Kirsha and her brigaders. They're not brigaders. You're just literally, like, harassing her, and you deserve to be fucking countered. But anyway, I'm glad this post, there's no apostrophe, there's no fucking, you misspelled I'm, by the way. I'm glad this post forced you to fall back on your timeless strategy of pretending to not know anything and self-victimizing. Again, like, projection. Edit 2. Calling Alex Preddy a pedophile who deserved to die and saying that he was not a victim is pretty evil, Kirsha. We have the receipts to prove it. Okay, post the receipts. Then they never do.
Never raised anything worth talking about in the first place. Just pure delusion.
I will say, though, that was the wrong button. I will say, though, the Alex Preddy shoot is not as good of a shoot as the Renee Good shoot. The Renee Good shoot is pretty uncontestable. You watch the footage and it's like, okay, you did drive and hit a ICE agent with a car, and it takes longer for the nervous system. Anyone who knows anything about the human brain knows this, but it takes longer for the nervous system to de-escalate from a threat than it does to escalate. And there's the evolutionary reason for this is very fucking apparent. But you know, in the case of the Alex Preddy shooting, even then you could still like you could still justify it because again, you know, someone calls out weapon, and yes, the weapon is taken, but the person who actually does the shooting doesn't see the weapon get taken. The weapon is not communicated to have been taken. So yes, you actually can say that even though the Alex Preddy shooting is not as, you know, it is messier than the Rene Good shooting. But at the same time, it's like, God help you trying to find someone. If you took this to court, God help you, right? I think there's a large contingent of people who would look at this and be like, well, there's no way that he could have known that the gun was no longer in the guy's hand, right? But I digress.
Confusion and seething. I would say get a job, but like, this is their job. It is their job to seethe.
Well, it would have been their job. I mean, who knows? Maybe this person used to be paid by USAID, and now he's just got all this, you know, free time on his hand. I don't know, right? I don't know. It turns out a lot of people online who were pushing all this bullshittery used to be paid by USAID, right? And anyone who was paid by USAID, for the most part, I'm like, I am glad your job is gone. I shouldn't have been fucking subsidizing you in the first place, right? What am I sending condoms to Uganda for? I didn't ask for this.
24/7. It just doesn't pay, but that's what they do. They write light novels all day and night about the evil, bad VTubers.
Okay, hold on. Now we can actually read some of this. Okay. I kind of want to see what edit 3 is.
But that's what they do. They write light novels all day and...
Okay, hold on. I could probably go a little bit further and get the whole thing. Oh, well, that goes fast. That scroll reel goes pretty fast, even for this. Okay, frame by frame. Okay. So edit 3, you pushed articles from places like Daily Mail and New York Post, notoriously biased and unreliable news sources. The Daily Mail is considered garbage by even the British. So when you ask if you would post something like this knowing the context, yes, I think you would be because you have. Furthermore, I've made the distinction between owning a book for historical perspective as opposed to what you do. I don't believe you. We don't have to play these games, and you aren't very good at them either.
night.
Okay. Considering how much it fucking decoheres during the scroll, I don't know that I'm going to be able to read this fourth one.
About the evil, bad VTubers. And Kirsha eventually replies saying, literally admits to wanting to reignite a harassment campaign, by the way. My point isn't just to bring attention, it's to make this enough of an issue where backlash is too much to ignore. So here is the expanded quote here saying, I know it's easy to score brownie points pointing out obvious evil people like her, but my point isn't just to...
She's obviously evil, chat, right? If you can't see it, it's because you're evil yourself, right?
bring attention. It's to make this enough of an issue where the backlash is too much to ignore. I've personally grown tired of people like her getting away with it all the time. She can't keep getting away with it, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't believe they literally did the meme.
Getting away with it all the time because we've become so numb and conditioned to this stuff, just existing and floating around in the ether.
I'm tired that this shit exists because we've become so numb to this that we kind of just like tolerate this instead of, to be perfectly honest, putting these people in their, in their place. Be like, hold on, yeah, let's all just not do any business with them. I fully support parallel economies, right? It's like, okay, you don't want any of our business, you don't want any of our money. We should be able to make it such that we don't have to do any kind of economic interaction with this person, right? But, you know, that's just me suggesting a decentralization of a lot of our financial institutions. But I guess, conversation for another time, right? Being hit by a car is attempted murder. Yes, obviously, right? That's like, it's a multi-ton weapon. I think people forget that, like, the kinetic energy formula, right? The impact formula is mass. It involves mass and fucking velocity. Like, you can get a small object to have a lot of kinetic energy by getting it to move very fast. You can also, again, get a heavy object to have a lot of kinetic energy just by getting it moving at all, right?
Accountability is something people need to remember again, and I feel...
Not to mention, like, again, As someone who's been hit by a car before, I wouldn't suggest letting yourself be hit by a car.
Feel like I'm doing an injustice, sitting and staying quiet, then getting the word out there and try to spark a change, even if it fails.
See, again, it's like inaction is not an option, right? It's like, oh, I feel bad for not doing anything. It's like, interesting. Again, inaction is not the neutral stance for these people. Action is the neutral stance. Specifically, action that they like is the neutral stance, right? They never graduated. They never graduated science. I would imagine, like, if you took even a middle school level science class, you should understand this. Even if you didn't take a science class, I think most people understand this.
And then the entire room full of Redditors stood up and applauded. Holy cornball, ladies and gentlemen. This person could pick anyone in the world to obsess over and to try to stop and to get accountability for. And he picks the Butterfox, okay? Like, what are we doing? There has to be something more important to dedicate your entire life to.
No, because that would take real effort. And it's all about, again, virtue versus virtue signaling, right? It's like, do you want to actually put the actual effort to become, to actually make something of yourself, or do you want to have something, or do you want to have the appearance as if you're making something of yourself, right? And the appearance is easier to telegraph than the actual transformation itself is to undergo. That's literally just why this keeps happening. These people are too lazy to actually do something with their lives, so then they busybody everyone else.
I'm too employed for this drama. Everyone is. You have to...
Come on, I enjoyed the time I got hit, flew, and landed on my forehead as a kid. I think I only remember the flying and the bleeding part. Vehicular car crash. Kids don't learn nothing after 6th grade. I did see some of the changed letter gradings for one school where you could get a B for a 60. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? According to them, yeah.
Be multitudes of unemployed to genuinely believe this is a rational way of looking at not only Kirsha, but the world.
Yeah, this person doesn't have a job. This person probably doesn't have a family. This person has no real aspirations in life, right? This person has literally nothing going on for them, right? They're looking for a dragon to slay, and it turns out the easiest dragon for them to slay is, online. So that's the one that they go for.
Sparking change. Yeah, we're sparking change against people like this, shining a light on these crazies to understand the kind of
illiterate graduates,
crazy, cultish behavior you see among their ilk. Okay? All they're doing at this point, they're not achieving some victory. They're just getting farmed for content. I'm surprised he can spell accountability. I mean, I'm impressed as well. But that's really the situation.
To be fair, we don't know that he actually spelled accountability. It's entirely possible that autocorrect did that for him. When your content fields give you a lolcow, milk them for all they are worth, right? Turn your haters into turn your haters into a source of your amusement and income. I don't know why my pro chat crashed. It said something about like a level 2 hype train. Was that actually a thing? Hold on. I don't think that's a thing. Let me check. Oh, excuse me. Whew.
But that's all I really have to say. I know a lot of people support Kirsha, and
I mean, obviously, she's doing fucking amazing work with like things that no one else is talking about. So it's like, of course we support Kirsha. She's like one of the few people still trying to actually do things, right? Like actual worth in reporting. Okay, it doesn't seem to say anything about that. I don't know why it told me there was a level 2 hype train.
it's always nice to talk about her. Unfortunately, it's typically when crazies are crashing out over her, but
yeah, she has a video about medical mishaps that DEI and medical mishaps, and I actually have something about that I don't think that she mentioned, but I have to listen to what she says about that, because if she misses one particular thing, I will have something to talk about. Holy crap, right? Specifically, the grimoire that was given to the American Medical Association. Really interesting. But we'll talk about that when we get the opportunity.
Content will content.
I like her work reporting on bridge. Exactly. Right. She's doing legitimate work that no one else is doing. And she doesn't get the credit that she deserves for the work that she's actually put up with, to be perfectly honest. And it's like, whenever I need to know about something about bridge, Kirsha is my primary source, right? For other things, I might go to someone else. But as far as bridge goes, she is, as far as I am concerned, one of the primary sources that I would look to and respect on that particular area.
Right.
All right, so that was Reddit freaks are threatening Kirsha, and you won't believe why, right? Okay. So let's see. Oh yeah, I was already looking for the next thing to make content out of, right? So y'all, let me know what y'all think, and I will see y'all in the next video. Okay. Let's close this out. I have a lot of things. Something about Rev is strange. Why is her glasses getting larger? I don't know what you're talking about, man. What do you mean her glasses are getting larger? Off to bed. Great night. Good night, Kenok. Have a good sleep. Oh my god, there's even a sleepy Kirsha. Okay, let's see. I'll probably react to this on Tuesday. 3 countries, same collapse. Now hunting ex-Muslims. I got a decent few things about Islam to talk about, such as this article about the history of jihad before the Crusades, which is going to be really fun for me because I'm going to go read this article on stream when I get the opportunity. But let's see what else we have here. So I guess y'all get the preview of some of the things I'm going to watch over this next week. I might have to watch a lot. I might have to stream quite a bit this week. Holy crap. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember what this one is. What is this one? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to look up some things about qualified immunity because of some of the content, of some of the things she said about that. Doesn't really seem correct to me, but I'll do my research on that. I'll save the abortion one for later. I'll check the VOD tomorrow at work. Thank you. Okay. Okay, what are we going with today? Okay, so I could just close this one out because this one is just like opened up to the Kirsha thing. I didn't crash the window, did I? Okay, I did not. We'll go with the Muslims hate dogs thing. Alright, so we're going to watch by Cyberpunk Dingo. This insane video shows you why Muslims hate dogs. Many such cases, right? Let me move myself over here. Okay, there we go. Let's make a dent in your tabs. It's gonna take all week to do that, but yes, that's the plan, right? So, again, we got to be a menace to communists and against Islamists, right? Those are the two great threats of our civilization. And feminists are just communists, but in the gender sphere. But we'll talk about that at a later time.
What is up, guys? It is your friendly neighborhood Jingo, and today I have got an insane video to show you. Now on this channel I have often spoken about dogs and how Islam considers them impure, haram, which is exactly why Muslims in most cases do not like dogs, they do not keep dogs as pets, and generally I think it's fair to say that they kinda hate dogs.
I mean, yeah, yeah, there's a real documentation in history for that one. But you can also look at like Hassan Piker just shocking his dogs and abusing his dogs. Or you can look at Sneeko and some of the shit he said, and he's not even all that good of a Muslim, right? Even he is like, your dog's not cute, your dog's not adorable, it's haram for a reason, don't take your dog outside, right? It's like, no, I choose my dog over you, Sneeko. Right? Denaturalize, deport, go back to where you came from.
For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know I've got 2 dogs, specifically the type of dog that Muhammad said not to have.
He has the dog. He has the black dog with the spots over its eyes.
That is a black dog with 2 spots on their head. So I went ahead
Oh! As soon as he said it, I was like, I know what it is. I've seen this before. I've read this hadith.
and got myself 2 massive Rottweilers. And I've actually seen it myself. Whenever I have walked them and Muslims and I cross our paths, believe me when I say, they scatter like birds. They just do not want anything to do with dogs that look like that. But
Of course not, because, you know, Muhammad had to ruin it for everyone. He's like, oh, wait, I don't like these dogs. These dogs keep barking and revealing my position and revealing that my gay lover is trying to crawl through my window. My child bride is jealous of my gay lover. What do I do here? What do I do here, Allah? It's just... I'm sorry. Just like the fucking ridiculous shit that... Again, if you've never read the hadith, you should probably read the hadith. There are some actually like comically absurd situations in there. Dobermans, Rotties, right?
this news I'm about to show you actually came out of Victoria here in Australia. So what happened in an area that is actually quite wealthy? It's an area that has a lot of dogs. I am familiar with that area. I used to live in a suburb.
I think he's going to read this, so I'm not going to read this yet.
I know exactly the type of people who live there and the fact that it is quite dog friendly with a ton of dog parks. They're just unavoidable. So this genius decided to attack women who were walking multiple dogs, and of course, it didn't go too well for him.
It turns out dog is man's best friend because a dog will bite the thing that's trying to attack them, right? Oh my goodness, yes. This is what, ever notice that, like, again, notice when, after that invasion of that Spanish city by Moroccans, right? And they're like, what happened? All of the Spaniards started taking their dogs everywhere, right? Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's like, it's a deterrent, right? Oh my goodness. It's like, oh yeah, they're just gonna walk in and the Spanish authorities are just gonna let them fucking take over the city for a time being. It's like, first of all, the Spanish government has lost the mandate of heaven. I can't tell you what the, I'm just saying, maybe the American founders had the appropriate decision about what to do with tyrants. You know, I'm not going to say France per se, because France was, you know, Kantian, but maybe there's a history about, like, how to treat, you know, people who lord over you like this, right? And look, man, I don't care that the rightful heir to the Roman to the Roman throne, right, is the King of Spain, right? By the fact that, like, again, the Spanish king was granted by the last king of Byzantium, you know, all of his territories. Don't really care. I don't care that Rome. I don't care that the rightful heir of Rome is the Spanish king. If the king is not protecting his people, then he has no his function does not exist, right? It's a thing where it's like, either the crown has permitted this or failed to stop it. Either way, the crown is not fit to exist. That is my personal opinion. And I'm kind of there with the Constitution as we have it right now too. But, you know, that's just my personal opinion, right? Let's see. The Islamists, right, will start hating foxes the same reason they hate dogs. Yeah. Dr. Guillotine was right. Wouldn't necessarily go that far, but that's just because the guillotine was a French thing. And I don't really like most of the French philosophers. They're usually pretty fucking cringe. We as Americans are based in Scottish common sense realism, not Kantian nonsense, right?
But the problem here is this person wasn't simply trying to attack those women. He was trying
to rape them. Almost, we all know this. It's like literally at this point, we all have seen this happen over and over. And it's like, yeah, no, we all know what he's trying to do, right?
To R-word them. You know, once again, that thing that never...
By the way, the word rape doesn't actually get you deboosted in the algorithm. I know people think it does, but Actual Justice Warrior actually did go on a whole rant about this. No, the word rape does not actually get you deboosted in the algorithm.
Happening again. We see it in Europe. We're now seeing it in Australia. No matter where these people go, remember this: they come from patriarchal, extremely misogynistic countries, and I have always...
It's not just that. They didn't leave to become one of you. They left so that they could bring themselves to you, right? It would be one thing if these people actually tried to naturalize themselves, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna leave my customs behind, and I'm gonna enter into this new society, and I'm gonna take on the customs of the people that I'm living with, because these are the people who are taking me in, right? That would show some degree of respect for the people that are actually of the lands that you're visiting. But no, that's not at all what's going on. What these people do is they go in, and because they believe that not only do they have the true religion, but also that they are the best of people, because the Quran literally says the Muslim is the best of people, or is the best of peoples, but also that the mushrikun and the people of the book who reject Muhammad, i.e. Jews and Christians and polytheists, right, are the quote-unquote worst of creatures, right? And that atheism should be punished by death. These people will go and they want to keep all, and because they believe that they already have the truth, there's no reason for them to change, right? There's no reason for them to change to fit to your society, because it turns out that they're superior to you, right? You're a Christian, you're a Jew, you're a mushrikun, right? It's like you're literally the lowest of creatures. Pigs are more clean than you are, right? So it's like, again, it's called Kantianism because they can't do anything. That's funny, but yeah. So like it is an actual supremacist religion. They believe that the Muslim is supreme above all other people. So why would they respect anyone else when anyone criticizes them, right? So they go and they believe that they already have the perfect way of doing things, and then you actually understand Islamic doctrine and you realize it's a religion of carnal excess, right? And people are shocked when the religion of carnal excess results in carnal excess, right? Just
He's been an advocate for banning people from coming to countries like Australia if they are from the top 10 worst countries in the world for women to live in. So
that's actually not necessarily a bad idea. If you come from a place that doesn't actually seem to understand that rape is a bad thing, maybe you should have to prove some decent amount. I still like grape. It's funnier. I mean, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it kind of does like remove the gravity of the crime that we're talking about, right? Where was I going with this? Fuck, I don't. Oh my god, he's got his own logo as his like shirt. I didn't even see that. We are the mushrikun. It is the word in Islam referring to those who associate partners with Allah, right? So the sin of the mushrikun is shirk. So usually it's translated as like the polytheist, but technically Christians would also be mushrikun because they're not Unitarians, because the Christian believes that Jesus is the second person of the Trinity, therefore, and not Unitarians, i.e. Tawhid, they too are mushrikun, even though they're very clearly monotheists, right? Same thing with a lot of Jewish people, right? A lot of Jews are emanationists, so they believe in things like the 10 Sephiroth, or Sephiroth, and in that case, because these are divine emanations, these are literally parts of the divine Godhead, they too would be mushrikun, right? So basically, mushrikun is anyone who isn't a strict Unitarian, which is most of the world, to be perfectly honest.
let's just have a quick read before we get to the video, and that is, police have released an image of a man they are searching for following the incident at a park in Kooyong yesterday. Bayside Sexual Offences and CA investigation team are appealing for witnesses following an attempted SA in Kooyong on the 14th of July. Investigators have been...
I agree with with actual Justice Warrior. I don't really like the censoring of words that actually don't get you deboosted on YouTube. But yeah, I understand that like this isn't common knowledge. There is the idea that like these words will get you deboosted, even though it's not actually true. But you know, so Islam equals Bowser's Kingdom, Mushroom Kingdom equals capitalist America. Huh. Probably not, but hold on. That got me thinking. It's like, hold on, maybe I can make a thing like a short series of comics where it's like the life of Muhammad, but Muhammad is portrayed as a dog.
Told the two, a 67-year-old Tuareg woman and a 39-year-old Glen Iris woman, were walking along Gardeners Creek with dogs near a reserve off Glenferrie Road around 11:30 a.m. An unknown male jumped out of a bush and put his arms around one of the women, but she managed to push him away. He then tried to pull the other woman toward him, and she also managed to push him away.
Yep.
The victims were walking 8 dogs at the time. The dogs then chased the male into a nearby tunnel under the Monash Freeway, even managing to tear off a piece of his clothing.
Honestly, in my opinion, they should have mauled him. Like, I get it, like, the dogs probably tried to, but the story would have had a better ending if, like, the dogs had mauled the fuck out of this guy.
The man is perceived to be of African appearance, wearing black tracksuit pants, blah, blah, blah. He was also carrying a large, bright blue backpack. Let's have a look at how the dogs did it.
Oh, there are a bunch of smaller dogs, too. So, would-be fucking, again, actually not even would-be, he is a sex pest, right? So, sex pest gets warded off by dogs. Again, this is the exact reason why, again, the Spaniards, after they got invaded by Moroccans, were like, yeah, we're gonna bring our dogs everywhere. You'll get your fatwa, don't worry. Oh. The Firestorm cabin's like, pussy! Yeah, fair enough, right? Oh my god. I'm not saying he should, but just objectively speaking, I think I can take at least some of those dogs. Not the whole thing. The whole thing would be too much, but it's like... Oh my god. But it's like, these are the people that a lot of these like leftists want to let into the country, and they know this. So like, why do they want to do this? They want to do this because they want to cause societal destabilization, right? They want to increase pain. That way, again, they can come in and have the alleged remedy to fix the situation. But yeah, no, find this guy, fucking put him in prison, then deport him, right? And put a permanent ban on him so that he can never fucking come in again. Let's see. Sounds like we don't have enough dogs, especially big dogs in the West. Ooh, yeah, we need. Could you imagine trying? This would not have happened if the woman had a fucking Akita. Right? If this woman had a Borzoi with her, this would not have fucking happened. Let's see. And guns. We don't have anywhere near enough of those. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I live in the gun state, so you know, I don't have nearly enough, right? But nearly enough in Texas is a lot, right? Just let's see. Dogs value friends and family. That's how the pack works. Yeah, even fucking cats will defend like their fucking their pod mates. Like the animals we tend to have do actually stand up for you. But yeah.
Yeah, just remember, these dogs, look at them. There's likely a Shih Tzu,
They want to break your windows and scavenge your copper. Release the hounds, right? I mean, that would also solve the problems. Like, you find, again, it's like, release the hounds.
What is that, a Labrador, a Golden Retriever? These aren't even your big, scary guard dogs. I think the healer's on his heels. These are tiny dogs, and yet